White. Wide open, Torrence! Oh, baby! Touchdown! How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do! Cat!
You're proud of me?
And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to Bankroll Blitz, Week 5, Season 3. Alongside me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Troy Torrence. Troy, it was a roller coaster ride of a week. Somehow we emerged. You emerged better than me, 13 and 10 plus 1.8 units. I emerged 9 and 8 plus 0.65 units. I guess it's a good sign because it sure felt like we lost.
It felt like a losing week, 100%. I mean, that's the perfect way to characterize what happened. After the Packers game, I'm like, dude, well, and I got crushed in the live bet category. So after the Packers game, I'm like, in the gutter almost. I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm beat. I do this shit every day for 10 years. And here I am with my tail between my legs, like a little pansy. Woe is me. So yeah, it hurts, bro. It hurts when you're losing. It's a high when you're winning, but the capping never changes, man. I'm locked in. Let's get it.
Let's get after it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Man, Bear, Pig, now a PSR Silver member, which means you can be a part of the Discord with us. We have Jose Bouquet live streaming Red Sox Yankees right now in the Discord. Flea Mathis, Mike 21, Ken Wood, Susie Easton, Sky Dragon says San Fran is such an obvious play. Why is it 6.5? The 6.5 is mind-boggling. Of course, you're like, well, Purdy must not be playing, but it looks like he's playing. It's a crazy, crazy line here. Dougie Wise in the house. D. Jenkins ready to get to work. Birdie, Coin, Chosen One. Great group. Thank you guys all for joining us. Let's go over the week that was and then begin to attack the slate. This is our first slate with buys. This is also the first slate where I have now got and I will be using the stats for passing offense, rushing offense, red zone offense, third down offense, and the same with the defense and the sacks. I wanted 4 weeks of sample size before I started caring about those numbers at all. I don't want to care about them too much even now.
That reminds me. Yeah, right. You don't want to put too much into it, but it's definitely worth noting. And there's one I had to go dig out some of those today because I did. I'm with you.
I've made a mistake in years past where, a team will be, what's a good example? Like the 49ers red zone offense 27th in the league at 42.9%. So I'd say, the 49ers can't score in red zone. We know that that's not the case. If a couple of those games had Mac Jones, we know that McCaffrey's a danger in the red zone. It just hasn't happened at this point. Maybe Deebo Samuel is not around to kind of surprise or keep defenses on their toes. Pearsall's being
maybe 3 or 4 possessions. There's a penalty, penalty, knocking back, holding something, late hit, crazy thing.
I try not to try not to put too much emphasis into them, even though we have them for all of these games now. So thank you guys for joining us. Let's just discuss the week that was. Again, all I can think about were the mistakes that I made, but it was a huge Monday for us and able to barely get through it. Baltimore minus 2.5, horrific. Baltimore double result, terrible. The Buffalo minus 6.5 and Cook anytime touchdown minus 135 cashed. New Orleans Buffalo under 48 loss, but I bet the under 57.5 live and got almost all of that back. A Detroit double result cashed. New England double result cashed. Indianapolis LA Rams over 49.5 lost. Jacksonville San Francisco first half over 23.5 lost by a hook, in the full game over 47 pushed. San Francisco minus 3 lost. Then Broncos double result cashed. Atlanta first half cashed. Atlanta full game cashed. Minnesota Pittsburgh under 41.5 lost. Cleveland Detroit over 44 pushed. Then the double down on New England taking the minus 5 cashed. The Raiders, that was just heartbreak. lost, minus 123 lost. And then Miami minus 2.5 cashed, and the Dolphins double result plus 145 cashed as well. So overall, 9-8 plus 0.65 units. Take a quick once over your action from last week, Troy.
That plus 140, I was so jealous of it. I mean, you don't realize how big of an impact it is to get that plus 40 cents on the final record on the ROI. So when you like, we're not scared of juice, but when we have the opportunity to take out those plus money spots, I should have been right there with you. So for me, I'm going to just I'm going to group these games together. Seahawks, I had a money line -1, and I had the under in that game. Started off the week great, cashed all of them. Vikings minus 2.5, clearly the wrong side, in my opinion, based on how that game played out. Lost that one. Falcons, I tripled up on the Falcons with the teaser and money line and spread. Won all those very easily. I should have been more heavily invested. I believe in Penix, especially versus weak defenses and weak coverage units. The Buccaneers, Eagles under. I felt like it was a crime shame to lose this under.
200 yards from the Eagles, -1 in the second half, and they put up 30 plus.
Insane. And at halftime, there was 270 yards of total offense and 30 points. So Patriots double result. I don't know how I talked myself out of it. Probably watching the Panthers tape. Too much tape on the Panthers kept me off the loading up on the Patriots. Rams -3. Rams Texans money line. Shocked by the noise just to score in that game. Can't wait to get to that. The over in the Colts doubled up on that, and that failed to get there, even though I thought that game should have got there. Watching some of these other games get to the over, and not that one, was kind of tough to watch. Ravens -2.5. Ravens did not look good. We're going to talk about that team today. Packers had 2 teasers and the double result with the Packers and lost all of them. Tough loss. Broncos double result. Finished it with 4-0. Broncos double result. Dolphins -2.5. Dolphins first half money line. Dolphins Broncos teaser. Cash. Great way to finish the week. Put me back into the profit. But I make bets on those games every week, every game. I'm betting those on primetime games.
But you're having a great season. 55-41, 57.3% plus 13.67 units. ROI plus 14.24%. Average line -104. It just, for whatever reason, the losses have hurt so much more than the wins have felt good. And you need to hear that you're having a hell of a season, even though it might not feel that way. Let's get to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A ton of work to deliver. So let's get after it. We start on the Thursday nighter, October 2nd, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, for the San Francisco 49ers, 3-1, 2-0 on the road at the LA Rams, 3-1, 2-0 at home. We're at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Let's get into the line history to get us started. We're going to be using, we're back to 5.5. 6.5s are gone. I mean, the 6.5s were nuts. 6.5s. Oh, no, it's back at 6.5. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
okay, sorry. Let me refresh this here. Looked like 6.5s were gone there. And no, we have 6.5s across the board. A 7. Yep. We have a 7 here now. Good God. Wow. So, I mean, it is implying that Purdy's not going to be out there. But that's not being made official. And how much do you drop the Niners with Mac Jones? Minimal, really. I mean, there's certainly a drop, I believe. I know others don't, but
I mean, we're talking a 3.5 to a 7.
It should be. I mean, this is insane.
Oh, well, Mac Jones has some injuries too, which would take us to the third quarterback, which is that kid from Nebraska, I think. Mobile kid, like,
Rourke.
What's his name? Who's the third string quarterback?
Rourke. He's a Canadian.
Oh, Rourke.
They drafted.
Who was I thinking?
Grab the depth chart right now. So at this point, though, Mac is not on the injury report at all. So there should be no concern that it's Mac.
Yeah, it's Mac. It's going to be Mac if Brock's out. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not Rourke. Rourke will be watching, as he'll be most likely watching all season long. The look ahead was 3. Then this opens up on Sunday at 3, and now we're at 6.5. I mean, it's mind-boggling. This total is at 46.5, juice to the over. The look ahead was 47. Opens up on Sunday night at 46, and now we have 46.5. It did get up to 47.5 before it dropped a little bit. Then we have 77% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on the LA Rams. 77% of tickets, 95% cash on the Rams. I mean, obviously the books are moving the line drastically, so it's not like we can sit here and say, "Oh, the books are just opening up their arms," because they're not. Just a crazy 76% of tickets on the over and 61% of cash on the under. As DG says, the total is too high. I mean, the first off, with the 49ers and the LA Rams, first off, we have to talk about their passing offense, because only the Cowboys are averaging more yards per game than both of these offenses. The 49ers passing offense is second, 280 yards per game, while the Rams passing offense is third, 267.5 yards per game. The rushing offense being a problem for the Niners, 28th, 88 yards per game. The red zone offenses look bad, 27th in the league. But the third down offense has been very strong, and that's something that the 49ers have done year after year after year. Third in the league at 48.1%. Their pass defense, they're allowing 165 yards a game. Very good. 6th in the league. Rush defense, 17th, allowing 115.5. Their red zone defense, 10th, allowing touchdowns 54.6% of the time. And their third down defense is second. They're only allowing conversions 32% of the time. With all that being said, without Nick Bosa out there, this pass rush is invisible. Right now, they're 26th at 1.3 sacks per game, but they looked worse than that in their first game without Bosa. The 49ers coming off a disappointing 26-21 home loss to the Jaguars. Bosa, of course, gone for the season with torn ACL. The 49ers outgained the Jags 389-325. Purdy was 22 of 38 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also ran twice for 13 yards, lost a fumble. Lynch said today that we will take every precaution to make sure Brock's all right. I think he is. Now it's just a matter of, can he turn it around on a short week? That's it. That's it. So nobody's coming out saying Max in here yet. No one, unless someone has something that I don't know about. James has got a line showing Brock Purdy. Birdie says Pearsall status in question. Jennings status in question. Yes. And we'll go over all those here. McCaffrey struggled on the ground, 17 carries for 49 yards, but he caught 6 passes for 92 yards in a touchdown. So he's still delivering out of the backfield. Jake Tunges continued his excellent play at tight end with George Kittle hurt. Tunges caught 3 passes for 58 yards in the touchdown. They finished 8 of 13 on third down, but again, just 1 of 3 in the red zone. And the pass rush finished in their first game without Nick Bosa with 0 sacks and 0 quarterback hits. And who got the strip sack with 3 minutes to play to seal the win? Eric Armstead, former 49er star Eric Armstead. Michael Williams is so important, and we know he's banged up. His wrist is a problem. Yetur Gross-Matos should not be a starter on the pass rush. He should be coming off the bench, but he needs to be there, and he's banged up as well. They're both listed as questionable. The defense was strong in other aspects. They held the Jags to 4-14 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The rush defense was gashed by the Jags, 151 yards on the ground. And Ricky Pearsall left in the third quarter with a knee injury and didn't return. So John Lynch said today that he expects Pearsall. I mean, it's not much being said here. That I expect him to be listed as questionable. We hope he plays. Juwan Jennings was a non-participant yesterday. Same deal. Will they be in? Let's start with the 49ers. Is this a mistake at 6.5? Is this too many points? I mean, we have 95% of the cash on the Rams, so obviously we want to be on the other side of that, but the books are caring. Take it away, Troy. Let's start with the 49ers.
Man, we want to be on the other side of all that cash and the public sentiment, typically, for the most part. But on those Thursday night games, for whatever reason, it's when the public is the most successful. And I'm going to touch on the market when we finish this cap off. Start with the Niners, though. I believe this is a fraudulent 3-1 football team. Based on the strength of schedule, how those games have played out, this team could easily flip that record, and it would be you can make a reasonable case to flip that record. And I think it's a transition year for them, in my opinion. They lost too much talent now. Guys are just injured. Offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, Bosa being the most impactful one. Once you take a guy like that off the front line, it changes the entire dynamic of the defense. What happens to the defense like the Browns if you take Myles Garrett off the front line? It's going to impact every single level because now teams are going to be able to run the ball to both sides of the field. They're going to be able to pass the ball much more comfortably. It's going to put so much more stress. That's why edge players are paid so much, is because they do have just an incredible impact to the game, and they could do it on every single snap, whereas a cornerback could, in theory, get taken out of the game through scheme alone. And Purdy, we've seen this guy. He's a great quarterback. He's been in the league. I mean, I think he's a good quarterback. He's definitely an NFL quarterback, but he's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback that's going to be able to rise above some of these issues that this team is having. The 49ers, man, just looking at the Saints, the Cards, the Jags, I go back and watch some of these games. It's not impressive competition, and the wins weren't even convincing. So it's like Purdy, honestly, like looking at the offensive line, there's some grades that would suggest they're doing okay, but he's under pressure on 42% of dropbacks. And now he's going to see an elite pass rush, which we're going to be talking about the Rams right now.
Second right now in the league, 3.5 sacks per game. We talked about the passing offense for the Rams. You as soon as you saw Puka Nacua, told us that he was going to be Hall of Famer, and I did laugh. I mean, I was like, come on, the guy's a game into his career. Now look at him, 13 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown. He's an absolute monster. 13th rushing offense, 120.8 yards per game. Red zone offense hasn't looked very good. It's a surprise. I imagine that should change. 21st at 50%. Third down offense, 13th at 40.4%. Passing defense, 9th. Rush defense, 10th. Red zone defense, 15th. Third down defense, 8th. They're just a quality football team. A quality football team. They're coming off a 27-20 victory at home over the upstart Colts. They outgained the Colts 462 to 333, but they were pretty fortunate. The 88-yard pass to Tutu Atwell came with 10. And Blackman fell down, and the Colts only had 10 defenders on the field. How can you make that mistake at that time? I mean, that's a shocking mistake that was made. Also, Adonai Mitchell was pulling out the ball to show everybody, and it slips out of his hands. And what a terrible mistake that was. A shout out to our guy, Birdie, blessing our action, and Gorky. Gorky with a $5 dono with his action. And great job getting Rams -3.5. Gorky, my friend. And then Birdie with a $20 dono. Thank you, fellas, so much. It means a ton to us. So thank you so much for your support. There's Sammy Calmer in the house. Coin said San Francisco 4-17 against the spread in the second half, last 21 games dating back to last year. That's crazy. Kyron Williams ran 13 times for 77 yards, caught 3 passes for 17 yards. He did lose a fumble. They were just 4 of 12 on third down, but they were 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense held the Colts to 4 of 12 on third down, but they did allow that Indianapolis Colts team, which is dangerous in the red zone, to go 2 of 3 there. Pass rush had 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Cam Curl had 2 interceptions, and Ahkello Witherspoon has the broken collarbone. So he's going to be out for a stretch. He wasn't in the lineup last game, but Cam Curl stepped up with 2 interceptions. Well, I tell you what, this total's way too high. I know that it's predicated on the passing offense that we've seen from these two teams, but it just doesn't work like that. I was so blown away by the spread moving up to 6.5 and the total climbing up to 47.5 that I was just a deer in the headlights. Now that I'm sitting here, I'm saying, well, the books are showing real concern that the Rams are going to smash and grab. So I don't need to move on the 49ers just because I think this line's out of whack, but I can move on the unders right now. And that's what I plan to do. Take it away. Talk to us about the Rams, Troy Torrence.
Yeah, I think you can make a really strong case for the under. And the case begins with the fact that games in this division just constantly go under. And it's not like you're really sweating these unders out. You might have a small sweat for a little bit of the game, but for the most part, these have been comfortable cashing unders. And this Rams team, you talked about this Rams team fervently prior to the season beginning. As I watched tape on this team, and the more and more I started to understand just how good this defense could be, I had to move on futures. And I think we got nothing but confirmation over the past 2 weeks. And honestly, I thought before I came into handicapping this game that it was an outlier loss in Philly and an outlier win against the Colts. And this number, the noise-adjusted score, was 32-19 in favor of the Rams.
Wow.
And it's shocking. And it makes me want to go back and rewatch what happened in that game. And because I was watching multiple games. Mostly I was being butthurt about what's happening with the Ravens because I just can't stand the Chiefs. And it's unfortunate that I might have to be on them again this week. But the Rams defense, this is where it all starts for me. We knew what their offense was capable of. We know they have talent at receiver. We know they have an offensive line that's actually being very productive, and they're generating line yards. They have weapons all over the field. Great quarterback, head coach tandem on the offense. It's all good. So what about the defense? Well, right now, this team against pretty good, really good competition, probably the strongest strength of schedule so far, especially looking at opposing team offenses. They're top 10 in every PFF category. You look at run defense, tackling, pass rush, coverage, it doesn't matter. They're able to get it done. You watch tape on this team. Their gap sound. Everybody is on a string. It's a great defense. And that's kind of where it all starts for me. And this Rams, or this, it's just this market. I should really just circle back to this market because I can't stop thinking of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. So you look at the history of this market, and I haven't dug into the specifics of the line move, but it really doesn't matter. So I look at home teams in division that close between 3.5 and 9.5. And usually I don't give you that big of a range between 3.5 and 9.5. So why am I doing that here? It's because every single number from 3.5 to 9.5 in a divisional game with the market moving towards the home team is winning well over 80%, 84%. There's a few 81% mixed in there, 90%. On prime time, the sample's 9-1 straight up for the home team. Now you'll see a lot of 50-50 on the spread. Even you'll see some favorability towards the Rams or towards the 49ers on the spread. But there's way more value on the Rams money line, and it's a massive price. So I can't just play this one straight. If it was minus 180 and I seen these types of numbers, I'd be all over this money line. So I did tease the Rams, and I teased them two ways. I posted one because I could tell this the one line this stuck out to me this morning. I had to post it as soon as I bet it just because I knew the Dolphins line was going to flip. So if you're following me on Twitter, you got Rams plus a half, Dolphins plus 7.5 at minus 120, a teaser I put in this morning. I also got a Colts minus a half, Rams plus a half teaser at minus 120, 6-point traditional teasers.
Sorry, what was the Colts one?
The Colts minus a half, Rams plus a half.
Wow.
Also, I want to say this too. If you start filtering it down to when the higher the total, looking at totals above 44, you're seeing all trends to the under. Every single profile you look at, you're seeing 57% or better with probably an average. I haven't measured this out yet because I'm scared of totals right now. But I haven't measured this out yet, but it's looking like it's probably an overall sample of about like 66% to the under. Strong trends to the under, especially on prime time in division.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's war. War is a bad example, but we know it's a very intense battles that go down when they play in division in NFC West. Yeah, the unders need to be bet. Look, everybody in the chat on the Rams. You know, Vincent Hawkins saying that's the play. Rams double result. Man Bear Pig agreeing. Londo saying I'm on the Rams with confidence. 95% of cash on the Rams. Lines moved to 7. I mean, it's you know, like, is it just that easy? I mean, certainly everyone's saying that it's just that easy, and the books are concerned moving the line so drastically.
I mean, I will say this, and this is true in a lot of markets, especially in the MLB. The more cash that is on the home team in this situation, the better it is historically for the home team to win the game. It's the squarest thing you could do is tease a game, especially a primetime game, square, right? Here I am again, about to get that cash, I believe.
Well, I'm going to move on unders.
Oh, I might join you on unders. So we could circle back later. I'll probably be adding the under. It's almost guaranteed.
I'm going to do first half and full game here, and lock in. I understand that maybe the Rams double result should be the bet. I'm not going to bet that tonight. I mean, whenever there's a situation that's this drastic towards one side, I'm not, and the lines moved so enormously. I'm not rushing to get to the back of the line. So just unders for me. 2 teasers for Troy. Colts minus a half, Rams plus a half, and Dolphins plus 7.5.
Yep. Last thing on this, I want to talk about that big line movement. So what happens when you see 2-point or more move towards a home team in division between 3.5 and 9.5? The ATS actually starts to favor the home team. 5-2 ATS, winning by double digits in 5 of the 7 games. So the only 2 games they didn't cover is they didn't win by double digits, but winning by over 12 points on average.
Let's roll on, my friend. That is your Thursday nighter. Join us for our live stream right here on Pub Sports Radio. We move to the UK. We head to London, England, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England. 60 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, but 16 mile per hour winds here. And you messaged me that you had moved on the Browns, and I agree completely. A little nervous about the Vikings having back-to-back opportunities here in Europe, but I moved and I was late. You got a better line than me. I did get the +4, but I had to pay for it at -118. So this is the only bet that I come into the show with. Everything else I'll be moving on tonight. We have a 3.5 right now. The look ahead was 4.5, and then we get this on Sunday at 4.5, and it moves to 5.5, which is shocking to me. So it was 5.5, and then back to a 5, and then down to a 3.5, which is wild. That was actually on Sunday night. And then we're sitting here right now with a 3.5 juice towards the Browns. And I want the Browns outside every single time they play. It's not just a home situation. I think I just want them outside. The total has dropped down to 36. And I could have got this at 38. The look ahead here in the Texans plus 9.5. I just got too carried away with everything else and didn't get in on it. Coin says I saw Gabriel starting for Cleveland now this week. As far as I know, that is not confirmed that Flacco is starting. Is that? Do you expect Flacco to be starting here?
I personally, I can't imagine that any coach should be watching tape and saying, "Oh, I want to start Flacco again in the next game." But
the deflecting is all about deflecting, and then now it says Brown's expected to start Dylan Gabriel at quarterback.
I would agree. I'm not surprised at all.
This article came out 4 hours ago. Dylan Gabriel moving forward will be starting because he had just been evasive after the game. But now Flacco ranking last in NFL in passer rating, completion rate, yards per attempt, 31st in expected points added per play, 6 interceptions.
All that, yeah.
So in comes Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel will be starting. And Birdie saying Gabriel confirmed. Well, here we go. I mean, the bet on the Browns is a bet on the Browns defense. But let's start with this line history and the total and the cash flow. We talked about the total dropping all the way down to 36. Line history is the way it is. Let's get into the cash flow here. 69% of tickets, 78% of cash on the Browns, 82% of tickets, 90% cash on the under. Sky Dragon says Flores is going to give him a headache. He is certainly going to be doing that. Let's talk about the Vikings here. Their passing offense, it doesn't matter if it's McCarthy who's not going to be there. It's Carson Wentz, but it doesn't matter if it's McCarthy or Wentz. It hasn't changed. It's a 24th passing, 184.8 yards per game. Rushing offense, 20th, 109.3. We have Mason running because Aaron Jones is not expected to come off the IR until at least week 8. So the offenses look bad. The red zone offense, 16th, 61.5%, but the third down offense, 30th. 30.6% conversion rate. Passing defense is third. They're only allowing 151.5 yards per game. The rush defense, 24th, 130.3. Red zone defense has been strong, 46.2% touchdown rate they're allowing. That's 6th in the league. So is their third down defense, 6th in the league at 33.3%. And they have the 7th. They're ranked 7th in sacks, 2.8 per game. And they go on their bye week after this matchup with the Browns. So they get a break here. This is their second straight game overseas. They fell 24-21 to Pittsburgh and Dublin, Ireland on Sunday. Vikings outgained the Steelers 372 to 313. Wentz was 30 of 46 for 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It was the offensive line looked horrible. Wentz was sacked 6 times and hit 14 times. So we know guard Donovan Jackson, offensive tackle Brian O'Neill are hurt, and they will not be back for this game. The Vikings are hopeful that they return after the bye week. Justin Jefferson caught 10 passes for 126 yards. Madison caught 4 for 114. Mason ran 16 times for 57, caught 3 for 15. The offense struggled on third down as they've been doing all year, 4 of 14, just 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense allowed the Steelers to go 4 of 10 on third down, but held them to 2 of 5 in the red zone. We know that this is a very strong defense, even if we haven't seen it or didn't see it. What we didn't see the strength of it last week. We know they're strong. Isaiah Rodgers just doing it again. Block Chris Boswell's 30-yard field goal attempt with 142 left in the half to keep the score 14-3. Last week, he scores 2 defensive touchdowns. He's a beast. And Ryan Kelly was ruled out with a concussion, so he's in concussion protocol. So you have Donovan Jackson and Brian O'Neill out. Ryan Kelly in concussion protocol. Andrew Van Ginkel missed the game, and he's going to be out with a neck injury on the defensive side of things. So that's a lot to lose on offense. For these Browns, Dylan Gabriel confirmed at quarterback, so their passing offense should step up 20th at 195 yards per game. I don't know if that's the case in Gabriel's first game. This is a tricky spot for him. Rushing offense 30th at 84.8 yards per game, but we know that Judkins looks like the lone bright spot offensively for the squad. He ran 21 times for 82 yards and touchdown, caught 4 passes for 33 yards. He's looking stronger every single game. Red zone offense, 8th in the league, 66.7%. They had a great red zone offense last year. They just never got there. The third down offense, 21st at 37.7. And then we go to their pass defense and rush defense. They're just not allowing yards. They're allowing 152.3 yards per game through the air. That's 4th in the league. Their rush defense, number 1 in the league, allowing 70.3 yards per game. It's their red zone and third down defense that have been a struggle. They're allowing touchdowns 75% of the time that they allow the opposition in the red zone, 28th in the league. Their third down defense, also 28th in the league, allowing conversions 44.8% of the time. Coming off an ugly 34-10 loss at Detroit on Sunday, Flacco was 16-34 for 184 yards, lost a fumble. Jack Conklin was inactive last week, and DeJuan Jones done, season-ending knee injury, and Flacco faced a ton of pressure. Conklin's listed as questionable this week. He hasn't been officially announced out. Isaiah Bond caught 3 for 58. Judy caught 3 for 48, but he's looked bad this year, dropping passes all over the place. Offense was 3 of 14 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The defense allowed just 277 yards, but the Lions did go perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. The lopsided score, we see the 34 points. It reminds us of when we saw the Ravens game, and the Ravens put up 41 points because Goff had season low in yards passing, a season low in completion percentage. The pass rush did fail to leave its imprint in the game. Will that change here against this banged up offensive line? The answer is yes. Yes, it will. The Vikings offensive line looks horrible, and they're beaten up. And Cedric Tillman did leave with a hamstring injury. He's not coming back until week 7. Take it away for us here. Troy, Torrance, Tottenham, Hotspur Stadium in London, England.
That Lions offensive line that held back that pass rush, it's hard to for me, it's hard to say that that's the truth. Well, first of all, they have great tackles. That's where the Lions offensive line is still very strong, is that tackle. So you can move either side of the ball, Myles Garrett that being, and you're going to have a great tackle up against them. But I also think that when you fall behind like the Browns did, like the Lions are kind of cruising at that point. The offense is a non-threatening offense with Flacco under center. So that's to be taken into consideration. And you're right. The Browns took an L in Detroit, but the noise adjusted score was 19-9. Watching that game, it made a lot of sense. 34 points, only 277 yards, a little under 5 yards per play. I thought it was a pretty good performance. Now, the one concern I had with this Browns defense, and I've voiced this opinion in the past, and this is 3 years now, very, very similar trend, is what they do in the red zone. I'm not as worried about third downs, but I'm worried about what happens in the red zone. And going back and watching a little bit of tape on what's happening in the red zone, they're playing man coverage, which is I just feel like that's not where man coverage is going to flourish. And so I hope to see some changes, but I give a lot of credit to Dan Campbell and company for always being a force every single year in the red zone. I just think that the Browns matchup is favorable in this specific game. Carson Wentz versus man coverage. His yards per attempt drops from 7.6 to 6.8. Passer rating down from 98 to 85, and his turnover-worthy play rate triples. Carson Wentz under pressure, fourth worst grade in PFF, second highest turnover-worthy play rate, and his numbers are comparable to Justin Fields. That's why Wentz probably got moved to a backup starter in the NFL, is because he can't handle pressure. Like, he just has brain farts when he just can't handle it. And we know the Browns are the best pass rush in football, and they're going to be they're going to line up Garrett over Skule. Good luck. It's going to be a problem. He's not going to be able to handle him. The Vikings, they're going to be forced to try to run the football. And I don't think that's going to work out very well because the Browns have the best run D in the NFL, in my opinion. All five of the front seven are grading out in the top of the league against the run. They had success against two of the best rushing attacks in football with the Ravens and the Lions, holding both of them under 4 yards per carry. The Ravens under 2.5 yards, 2.1 yards per carry in that game. And what defenses has this Vikings team really seen? The Bears, the Falcons, the Bengals, Steelers, two good defenses in there with the Falcons and the Steelers. But neither of those teams are the caliber that we're going to see. They're going to see this week coming up. It's probably the weakest group, honestly. It's probably the weakest strength of schedule of anybody in the defenses that they've seen. But when push comes to shove, I think this defense is going to keep this Browns team in the football game. I'd prefer, just like you, to be backing the Browns at home, but we are outside on a neutral field. It's not the same as being on the road. And I have notes here about how I would bench Flacco. Thank God he's already benched. And, the problem with that is like a rookie quarterback against Flores. People are talking about it in the chat. I think it's pretty evident in this game. You're sending out a rookie quarterback against one of the most complex defenses to try to figure out. Now, if they're able to run the ball with any success, or if they're able to play good defense, I don't think it's really, I think anything could be a step up from what Flacco was able to give this team. So I still endorse, I bet the Browns at +4.5. I still endorse the +3.5, and I might even add a unit to it. Now, I hate betting this 3.5 number. I hate betting the 3.5, 3.5, but this is a neutral game. So I got to kind of throw the history of what has happened in this market. The dichotomy just does not apply. So I'll be more comfortable betting this number on a neutral field.
Kent Davies says Vikings team total under is an easy bet. The Vikings get to 21 here?
That's actually a really good point. What am I doing playing around with if we could bet a favorites team total under in a terrible matchup for them against a rookie quarterback? We know the Browns are going to be pounding the rock. We know the Vikings are going to want to pound the rock. Let's see what we get. I mean, is 21 the number?
You can get, the 21 is the issue. You have to, right now it's juiced at 20.5 to the under. You can pay for the 21. It's tricky. I can hit you again, D. Jenkins, my man. We have 69% of the tickets and 78% of cash on the Browns, 82% of tickets, 90% cash on the under. I think that this being a UK game and the excitement around it, I think this total goes up. I know that the wind is heavy, but I think that it does close closer to a 37. If anyone's trying to get over it, I don't think it goes below this 36 right now. Kent Davies got the 20.5 and he boosted it. JM, teasers here. Or maybe, Minnesota plus 4.5.
The one concern I have with unders is, especially team total under, is the Vikings man coverage. We haven't seen a lot of cover zero out of this Browns team, which I love. So they're not really just so vulnerable over the top. So maybe I shouldn't be as concerned this year about Justin Jefferson getting loose on a deep one.
350 yards passing Wentz had last week is a hilarious number to me. I think I'm comfortable just going in here with the Browns +4. But the Vikings team total under is a possibility. Is a possibility here. I shout out to TJ. Thank you, my friend, for the $10 dono, blessing our action. And Troy, you got the Browns +4.5
at -115.
And that's it? Just 4.5 minus 110 or 4.5 minus 115. That's the only bet so far?
That's the only bet I have right now. I'll probably end up with 2 units on the Browns, some way, shape, or form.
Let's roll on. That is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium London game. And we roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Las Vegas Raiders, 1-3, 1-1 on the road at the Indianapolis Colts, 3-1, 2-0 at home at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's talk about the line history here for Raiders Colts. We have a total of 48. The look ahead was 49.5. It becomes available just after midnight, Monday morning, Sunday night. It becomes available at 48, juice to the over. Since then, there's been 8 cents of movement towards the under. So it's a 1.5 different than the look ahead line. On the point spread, we have a 7. Colts are -7 at -103. The look ahead was 6, and that moved to 6.5. And then 6.5, it opens up heavily juiced to the Colts a little after midnight. Now we have a 7 juiced to the Raiders. We get to the cash flow here Tuesday evening. We have 71% of the tickets and 77% of the cash on the Colts, 66% of tickets and 88% cash on the over, and yet it is dropping. So here we go. Raiders passing offense 14th in the league, 215.3 yards per game. Rushing offense 15th at 114.3 yards per game. We know that this rushing offense is capable of taking off, and Genti just had his breakout game. The problem is the offensive line and him getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. Red zone offense has been a problem, 21st in the league at 50%. Third down offense being a big problem at 24th in the league. They're only converting 35.9% of the time. Their passing defense is a problem. A lot of problems for the Raiders. 228.3 yards per game they're allowing. On the ground, they are allowing 102.8. Their red zone defense is 4th in the league here. They're only allowing touchdowns 38.5% of the time. Their third down defense is 20th at 39.2% of the time. And their the pressure that they're delivering is questionable. Right now they're averaging 2 sacks per game. At times you see it, at times it's invisible. They had their game-winning field goal attempt blocked by Josh Blackwell with no time left on the clock and a tough 25-24 loss at home on Sunday. For their third straight loss, it was a real kick in the teeth for both of us, Troy, right before our live stream. But, we handled it. It's not the first time we've been kicked in the teeth. They outgained the Bears 357-271 in the loss. Geno Smith struggled again, 14-21 for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The Raiders put up 240 yards on the ground. Ashton Genti ran 21 times for 138 yards and a touchdown, caught 2 for 17 and 2 touchdowns, but he did lose a fumble. He became the first Raiders rookie with 3 touchdowns in the game since Bo Jackson in 1987. Brock Bowers led receivers with 5 catches for 46 yards. He extended his streak to 21 games with at least 2 catches to tie the longest by a tight end to open a career. Sammy Laporta set the record in 2023-24. So for you prop bettors, you'd have to use an alternative number because his receptions will be higher than that, but he's going to break the record, and they'll do whatever they can to get him that record, I imagine. The Raiders were just 2-9 in third and fourth down combined, but they went 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense held the Bears to 7 of 16 on third down, and they were very strong in the red zone. They held the Bears to 1 of 4. The pass rush was quiet, 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits, but Max Crosby was doing other things. First career interception. He knocked down 2 other balls. That's his second career game with 3 passes defensed. He's the first NFL defensive lineman with 3 in a game this season. He also finished with 3 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, the quarterback hit. So he's doing a ton out there. Michael Mayer, concussion, their tight end, and quarterback DeCamarion Richardson, hamstring, both didn't play. They're listed as questionable this week. Eric Stokes with the knee injury was injured late in the third quarter. He's listed as questionable this week. And now tackle Colton Miller was carted off in the final minute. It's a high ankle sprain, so he should be out for a few weeks. He's just listed as doubtful right now. Let's start with the Raiders. I know that we are high on the Colts and made money on the Colts, despite you fading them last week. Talk to us about the Raiders. So is this a buy low spot, or do we have no faith in Geno Smith right now and they're maybe venturing into the world of unbettable? Take it away.
I think both are true. I think it is a buy low spot on the Raiders because the noise justice score against the Bears, obviously, clearly they should have won that game 20-17. But it's the same story with this team. They're capable on offense. They have a terrible defense. They have a veteran defense. They're a good tackling defense, but there's really not much good about them. But Geno Smith, who I've hammered now for 3 straight years as being a bum, I mean, he's average. He's an average quarterback. I would say average is his ceiling, too. He's fake good. He's a bait and switch type of quarterback. He'll make you think he's something he's not. We know who Geno Smith is, or at least I do. He simply cannot get off his first and second read. He makes predetermined decisions pre-flop without any type of confirmation post-snap. He's throwing to the intermediate portion of the field, 10 to 19 yards, worst quarterback in the NFL by margin. And that's 25% of his attempts. That's top 6 in the NFL. That's 6th in the NFL in attempts in the middle or to the intermediate portion of the field. He's 35th in completion rate. He's 32nd in yards per attempt, and he's the worst outside of the quarterbacks that haven't thrown any picks. which are very few because, like there's 30, 40 quarterbacks on this play now. His touchdown to interception ratio is 4-1. Teams know to stack the coverage in the center of the field, force Geno Smith outside of the numbers, outside of the hash, and you're gonna have success against this guy. He's holding this offense back. I think the scheme is decent. I think there's a quality offensive line, and he has great weapons. So Geno Smith is the problem with this offense, in my opinion. I don't think he fits what Chip wants to do. And defensively, I kind of talked a little bit about it, but Patrick Graham, why is he back? We kind of talked about this before. This is his 4th season as the Raiders head coach. He's never been good. He's from the Belichick tree. He refuses to change. He's going to run 3-4, cover 3, and cover 1. And there's not much complexity. There's nothing to it. So it's really like, I don't believe in this defense. The offense has upside, but I don't think they're going to be able to achieve it because Geno Smith ain't going to be able to unlock it.
I understand that I've got to just forget what happened last week, because I was really confident in the position on the Raiders, and I going over it. I just don't know how they let that one go. I don't know how they can be trusted. The thought process here in the chat, though, is that the market is caught up on the Colts. Birdie saying, Sky Dragon says last week was the buy low spot for the Raiders, but he is building his position on Colts not to make the playoffs. Now I just have the Colts over 7 wins. So that's all I have. So I'm in a fine position. Let's talk about these Colts. Passing offense, 4th in the league, 261 yards per game. They're rolling. Their rushing offense, 8th at 129.7. Red zone offense has been a problem, 25th in the league. They're only converting 47.4% of the time. Third down offense, 14th at 39.6. So that's a sign. If you're not converting third downs and you're having problems in the red zone, that's a sign that the offense isn't quite as good as the numbers indicate thus far. Passing defense, they're allowing 223.8 yards per game. That's a lot. They're 21st in the league. Rush defense, 896. Their red zone defense is the worst in the National Football League. They are allowing touchdowns 88.9% of the time that opponents are in the red zone. Their third down defense is 21st, 40% of the time. So you start looking at some of these numbers and you're like, well, it's not very good. And it's hard to believe because all we've seen from them is very, very impressive play. They were unable to produce their first 4-0 start in 16 years, falling 27-20 the Rams on Sunday. They dominated the game early, but made costly mistakes late. In the end, they were outgained 462-333. Danny Dimes was 24-33 for 262 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Those were his first turnovers in the Colts uniform. Adonai Mitchell caught 3 passes for 96 yards, but that fumble where the ball came out of his hand just before he crossed the goal line, because I guess he wanted to show it to us. That hurt. It was a touchback for the Colts and something that I'm sure he will remember for the rest of his life, as will all of us. Jonathan Taylor ran 17 times for 76 yards, caught 5 for 20, finished 4 of 12 on third down, and went 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense looked excellent until they allowed that 88-yard TD pass to Tutu Atwell with 133 remaining. So Mekhi Blackman fell down in coverage. That'll happen. But Cameron Bynum told us that there was only 10 men on the field. That's how we found out about it, from Cameron Bynum. The pass rush was excellent with 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. They held the Rams to 4 of 12 on third down, but allowed them to go 2 of 3 in the red zone. Kenny Moore missed the game with an Achilles injury. He's listed as questionable to play this week. So, Troy, after all of this, after looking at the amount of cash that's on the Colts right now, going deeper into their stats and starting to see the flaws behind the team, I don't want them here as a 7-point favorite. I'm not interested in them. I'm only interested in the Raiders at this point. But am I a fool to even think about backing the Raiders here? What do you think about the Colts in this spot?
I think, like I said, I think you make some really compelling points. The Noise Justice Square already pointed this out with the Rams Colts 32-19. This Colts team, I really have to go back and rewatch that game because there's definitely some things I had missed. I still think that this team, like, as soon as I watched this team play offense, I knew Steichen was at the helm. I knew this team was going to be able to sustain some offensive success. the scheme is undeniable, and I say this every week: read option, RPO, play action, the highest rates in the NFL. They do struggle in the red zone, and Daniel Jones is really the source of those issues. Third down problems, yes. But why are they so good on first and second down? It's because they stretch the field. They have the personnel to stretch the field. They have players that can play underneath. They have a great running game, a solid offensive line, and a quarterback that understands the scheme. You also have to consider who they've played. These are good defenses that they've played. The Dolphins, now they basically ran the Dolphins off the field. But the Broncos, the Titans, the Rams, those are three quality defenses. And Daniel Jones, the one problem that I've noticed with Daniel Jones is like he has a great ADOT. He has some great numbers on paper at face value. Dig under the hood. On third down, his ADOT drops significantly, which makes it easier to play defense, right? He's going for the sticks. No longer is he stretching the field. And it's actually a problem I've seen with Flacco. So there are some red flags that I'm seeing with Daniel Jones. But the offense is a machine. It's more than the sum of its parts. And Steichen creates a great environment for this offense to flourish. And I actually think Anarumo, I love what he's doing. Defensively, every week you kind of get something different. From a 3-4 to a 4-3 to a 4-2-5, a nickel wide 4-2-5. And he's reminding me of what Fangio does. Cover 3, man-to-man, some hybrid, some cross-match. You're seeing some of the safeties take man up on the opposite side of the field. I think the defensive scheme is solid. I don't know if they have all the players to necessarily play that style of defense like the Eagles do, for example. But it's just so hard. I cannot get to this Raiders team. I cannot back Geno Smith in a game in Indianapolis with the Colts off of a loss. Now, I'm not saying that I'm super bullish on the Colts in this spot because I'm not, but I did feel comfortable enough based on this market environment. I mean, this is a price range where you see home teams win, and maybe it is. Maybe it's an outlier based on because my it's back to 2022. My database is, but when you see line movement towards a home team in this price range, they win 86, 90% of the time. I mean, I could share the samples. I will share the samples to some of these in Discord. Join the Pub Sports Radio Discord. I'll drop these profiles that I'm talking about in the chat because any way you slice it, and the higher the total, the better it is for the home team money line. We're seeing two high totals between the 49ers and the Rams. I'm on the Rams money line and the teaser, and I'm on the Colts teaser. Obviously, I teased these two teams together. I've already talked about the only bet I made in this game. I think Colts win, and I wouldn't put it past the Raiders to cover. I do think the back door will be open in this game.
So if this was happening last year, you'd have cappers in the chat say, look at Geno Smith's numbers indoors. They're phenomenal. He's a all pro indoors. Now, nobody's saying that anymore. Do we put a line through that? Is that no longer an issue?
I think it does favor him to play indoors. I definitely think you could. I mean, it's pretty clear that he's more comfortable indoors. I'd have to do a little bit more digging to see exactly what those numbers look like. But you could tell, like, I'm thinking about the games where he's played indoors, and he definitely looks better.
Now, I mean, I understand questioning any man who, after what the Raiders have done to them, going back to the well with them. But I kind of agree with TJ. He says, nobody's clicking the Raiders here. My best bet of the week is Las Vegas. Now, I'm not man. I'm not going to say best bet of the week, but I'm interested in the bet. I'm interested in the Raiders being able to keep this close. I'm interested in selling the Colts high.
So you still think they're overpriced in the market? Which you can make. I mean, you could easily make a case at this -7. Don't get me wrong. I think every model you look at is going to have this at between 5.5 and 6.5.
Now, I think that Birdie makes a strong point that if Kenny Moore misses the game, which I expect him to, it's an Achilles injury. I don't see why they need, but you would, if he is questionable, he's a much higher percentage of playing if it's at home. But I guess I'm not in a rush for this. I'm going to sit on this. But
so I'm uncovering a little bit more in the database as I play around with this total. What is the total line? What's the line movement? I'm interested in going back to overs with this Colts team.
The total has Well, the look ahead was 49.5, and then it opened up on Sunday morning, just a little. Oh, sorry, Monday morning, Sunday night, just a little after midnight at 48 juice to the over. Since then, it's taken 8 cents to the under.
I'll have to consider. I am seeing some bullish market history for this over. The one I'm looking at right now, undefeated, non-divisional to the over, home team cover 7-3, 9-2 on the money line. High total in this line movement, this price range. Overs sound interesting to me.
God, just a sickness. It's a sickness wanting to go back to the Raiders well after they ripped my beating heart out of my chest. Ziggy Balls says, the Colts will be very public this week. They will be very, very public. There's no doubt about that. Well, I'm interested in the Raiders. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to bet it tonight, but I'm interested. I have a feeling that they can keep this within a touchdown, and that this is probably a buy low spot on the Raiders and a sell high spot on the Colts. But I want to sit with it for longer. Is there anything you want to add before we get into our next spot on the board?
Oh, I'm going to be heavily considering this over in this game.
Rob Freeband says Raiders just a losing ass team. I get it. And Vincent Hawkins says Colts team total over is the play. I almost never bet favorites on the team total over ever. Almost never. I mean, I only look for if it's a dog, a team total over. If it's a favorite, it's a team total under. It's sort of how I do things. Johnny Yim in the house. Nice to see you, Johnny. Let's roll. We have T-Mac joining us. T-Mac from Bell Vegas, Ontario. And he says here in our chat that, where is he? He says, what up, Jimmy, Troy, and chat? Looking at the Saints is my only bet as of now. Excited to hear your thoughts. Well, you have already moved, I believe, on the Saints, Troy. And how could you not? I want in on the New Orleans Saints. This is a perfect opportunity, I believe, to move on them. And I want in. Let's talk about the line history and the cash flow. We have a 41. The look ahead was 43.5. This opened up that same just Monday morning, Sunday night at 41.5. It dropped down to 40.5. It's been bouncing between 41 and 40.5. It's 3 points lower than the look ahead. On the point spread for this one, we have the Saints. The line's moving pretty briskly towards the Saints. The look ahead was a pick 'em. And when the look ahead came out, the Giants started getting bet. So the look ahead opened as a pick 'em and became a -1.5 or a -1 for the Giants. And then this came out on Sunday at Monday morning at a pick 'em. Came out of pick 'em, and then the New Orleans Saints started getting bet. Went to -1. That got juiced to -1.5. Then it hit 2, and that's basically where it is right now. I see some books at 2.5. The time to get in on the Saints, I think, is right now. When we have and I should have probably done it, but I was a little focused on just making sure I had everything ready for the show, which kind of stopped me from moving on a couple spots that I wanted to sit and think about. 80% of the tickets, 87%. Okay, sorry. 80% of the tickets, 87% of cash on the over. 63% of tickets and 59% of cash on the New York Giants. I mean, that's perfect. The Giants come in off an impressive 21-18 victory at home over the Chargers in Jackson Dart's first start. Now, he suffered a hamstring injury during the game. He's listed as questionable to play. He says he expects to be good to go this week, but he's going to be limited throughout the week. So the passing offense, 17th in league, 204.8 yards per game, with only 89 passing yards in Dart's first start. Rushing offense, 17th at 112.3. Red zone offense is the last in the NFL. They score touchdowns 26.7% of the time. Their third down offense, 28th. They only convert 32.7% of the time. It's you can't find a good stat for the Giants except with their sacks, 2.5 a game. We know their pass rush is solid. That's 12th in the league. Their passing defense, 25th. Their rush defense, 29th. Their red zone defense, 27th. Their third down defense, 26th. Their defense is bad. And people who watch the Chargers every day and are season ticket holders and people who are really close to them, they tell me, oh, the Chargers aren't going to make the playoffs. That's what they tell me about the Chargers. They say this is their offensive line is going to fall apart. Now Alt's hurt as well. That Herbert holds on to the ball for too long. Like you don't hear positive things coming from people who watch that team. Like my pops, who's a season ticket holder, he faded them. He faded them in Vegas this week. He was in Vegas and he faded his Chargers. So Malik Neighbors made 2 catches for 20 yards before he suffered a season-ending ACL injury. Slayton led receivers with 3 catches, 44 yards. Scatterbo ran 25 for 79, caught 2 for 11. The offense looked good, 7 of 15 on third down, 2 of 5 in the red zone. The defense looked strong. They allowed the Chargers offense just 1 failed attempt in the red zone, held them to 4 of 12 on third down. Pass rush was strong, finishing with 2 sacks and 12 quarterback hits. And Drew Phillips and Dexter Lawrence had interceptions. When we talk about the Saints, they look great those first 2 games at home, I thought. And when I said that, and DG was right, he's like, yeah, but they didn't cover. And then, so I guess I just had very low expectations for them. Then they go to their first road game up in Seattle and get destroyed. I thought they looked good in Buffalo. Now we have extra rest and extra prep. This passing offense, 27th in the league, 177 yards per game. Well, again, in Dart's first start, the Giants put up 89 yards through the air. Rushing offense is 10th. This rushing offense looked good against the Bills. Now the Bills defense has a lot of holes. Red zone offense 21st, third down offense 24th. Look, they do have problems. Rattler is questionable at best. Their passing defense 15th, line 205.3 yards per game. Rushing defense 18th, 118.8. Where do they get hurt badly is a red zone. They're the 3rd worst red zone defense in the NFL, and they're the 5th worst third down defense. But their pass rush is at this point delivering more sacks than the Giants pass rush, even though we do think that, despite Cameron Jordan trying to turn back the clock, that this Giants pass rush is much stronger. Saints coming off an extra rest and prep. So Spencer Rattler was 18 of 27 for 126 yards, touchdown, no interceptions. He also ran 6 times for 49 yards. The Saints combined to run 34 times for 189 yards and a touchdown. Kamara ran 15 for 70. Kundra Miller ran 11 for 65. Rashid Shaheed caught 4 for 47. The offense looked pretty good. Now, they got great field position and they messed it up. But their offense, their first 9 drives all ended in Bills territory. Their offense went 5 of 15 on third and fourth down and 2 of 4 in the red zone. Look, there are problems, but the defense looked pretty good against the dangerous Bills offense. They held Buffalo just 3 of 11 on third and fourth down. The Bills did go 2 of 3 in the red zone. The pass rush finished with 3 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. Jonas Sanker had an interception. The Saints opened the season 0-4 for the 9th time in team history. It's the first since 2012. They showed a lot of character after getting destroyed by Seattle. They've only been in the lead once all season long. The opening minutes of their 2013 season opening loss to Arizona. They've not taken a lead over the last 220 minutes, 5 seconds of gameplay. Cameron Jordan did break the franchise record, 229 career starts. He broke the franchise record. He shared with Drew Brees. The problem here, and I would have already bet this, is that Cesar Ruiz, their center, is now week to week with an ankle injury. He's not going to play this week. They're already missing offensive tackle Dylan Radins. That's a real problem that Cesar Ruiz is going to be out there. And I think I can get past it, but that's why I haven't bet it. Chase Young, also inactive, listed as questionable, character issues. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Take it away for us here, Troy, Giants, Saints.
You know how you take a good pass rush away? You run the football. And the Giants team is not grading out very good in the run game. PFF's got them at 26th. They're 31st in yards per carry. In my opinion, I love what I'm seeing from this market. You got obviously the flippening is happening, which is a little bit less valuable in non-divisional markets, but I'm still looking at incredible profiles that show that there is value on this home team despite all this line movement, right? You don't want to take a bad number now that it's moved. That's false. I struggle to get to this Giants team, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect coming into this handicap because when I handicapped this game, it was before the flippening. Now I got it after the flippening, and it only took minutes from when I began to cap this game for that line to flip. Giants make the change from Russ to Dart, and they realize their first win. I believe people are going to overreact to that first performance. Sure, the Giants look much better than they have all season, especially offensively, especially in the red zone, because you add a level of competency in the red zone, you have legs like Jackson Dart does, and he's not scared to use them. Sure, they beat the Chargers, who are 3-0, but how the situational spot was elite. You didn't see me say anything, have any type of bullish sentiment towards this Chargers team last week. It was elite. I mean, you had a 3-0 team versus an 0-3 team, a rookie quarterback, a West Coast team traveling to the East Coast, a very stagnant market, and that Chargers team missing both of their first-round tackles is a big deal. I mean, these are guys that they drafted in the first round that they relied upon to be healthy, and losing those guys makes a huge difference in the game. And, I talk about Jackson Dart, like just thinking about Jackson Dart, I'm trying to think of some of these plays. Like I can't help but think because I went back and watched this film, but go back and watch what Jackson Dart was doing. His attempts were in the center of the field. It's a red flag in my opinion. He was under pressure on 38% of his dropbacks. And on those dropbacks where he was under pressure, he had 0 completions. On 11 dropbacks, he only made 4 attempts because he got sacked 5 times. I think that's a huge red flag, and that tells us that maybe what the whole thesis was last week, the Chargers were in a terrible situational spot, was more true than Jackson Dart being elite, because there's some numbers here that you won't see with veteran type of quarterbacks. And I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains. I do think he gives you a better chance to win. But after digging into what that game looked like from Jackson Dart, I don't think it was pretty at all. He has a bad offensive line, and without Neighbor, without his Neighbor, there's not a lot of true weapons out there. Now, the defense for the Giants is better than advertised, and there's really no change to that assessment. Their defensive line is great. They're terrible at the second level, and they're below average in the secondary. But anytime you have a good defensive line like they got, it gives any defense a chance. But like I was saying, you take this pass rush away, you take this defensive line strength away as you run the football. I think the Saints have proven they can run the football. Cesar Ruiz being out is definitely a concern.
It's not as much of a concern. It's my fault because they were been playing him at guard. It's McCoy who's been playing at center. So I'm so used to.
Yep.
They've had so many injuries on the offensive line, especially last year. But This is so I can take a breath. Happy that I kind of dug in a little deeper. It's McCoy is the center right now. So it makes sense. And he's a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say that caught me. I was about to say that kind of caught me on my heels a little bit, being concerned about that.
I mean, it's a loss not having Cesar Ruiz on the offensive line, but he's not been playing center this year, so it's
And I think, and it's not like it's not like I love the Saints team. I think they have no upside at quarterback, whereas you have some upside with Jackson Dart. The weapons are much better in New Orleans than there are in New York. The O-line is equally as bad. The defense is equally as bad, but it's less centralized. The New York Giants is heavily reliant on a good D-line. And at least New Orleans has some talent on every level. Now, they're not stacked on the defensive line, which is pretty much the most important unit on the defense side of the football. So however you measure that, however you weigh that, I think this number is more reflective of what we should expect. The Saints should be a favorite in this game. And, I was trying to think, do I have the balls to back the Saints team? And I definitely do. Saints 0-4, coming back home after having a legit performance in Buffalo. Look, the last team that just did that, the Dolphins, and they had their best game, no doubt about it.
Extra rest, extra prep.
Extra rest, extra prep.
I mean, when we talked about that Dolphins-Jets game, I was like, it punched me in the face. I was like, one team is playing their second consecutive road game in the heat, and the other team has extra rest and prep. I mean, it was just situationally, it was the worst case scenario for the Jets. Now, this isn't quite the worst case scenario, but it is flying across the continent with a hurt quarterback fresh off his first ever win.
Correct. And not a lot of offensive weapons, a bad offensive line. And I think that this is definitely, I think the Saints should be able to run the football on this Giants defense. So I moved on the Saints. I still like it at, what did I get this Saints game at? I bet the Saints money line minus 122, but I'm still interested in moving on this more, to be honest.
Oh, wait, why am I thinking this was, God, in my head, because the Thursday nighter was Seattle, Arizona. Why was I thinking that this?
Yeah, that this was extra rest, extra prep. It's not.
It's not. Sorry, I'm tripping out. Why did I think? Thank you, DG. Why did I think this was the Thursday nighter? I guess just because I had invested I so much invested in this game. You're right. My bad, DG. Too many games in my fucking head. Too many games in my head. No extra rest and prep for the Saints. That was wrong. Still, regardless of me making two mistakes on this game, one, thinking Cesar Ruiz was the center when it is Eric McCoy, and two, thinking that the Saints had extra rest. I think this is a must-bet Saints spot, regardless of those mistakes that I've made in this cap. I think the Saints are a must-bet spot. I think people are going to be high on the Giants off of that win against the Chargers when the Chargers actually are not that good because of injuries, because they've been decimated with injuries. I think this is a must-bet. A must-bet here on the Saints. And coins moved on them, a money line and -2. I wouldn't even be against going for a score like we did with the Dolphins on the double result at a big plus money. I'm moving on this. I thought you'd already moved on the Saints. Did you not?
Yeah, I did. I texted you about it earlier today. I moved on the Saints, and I'm interested. But I'm like you. I'm thinking double result. I'm thinking first half. I'm thinking maybe adding some more. To be honest.
Oh, and Ziggy Ball's got Saints +2.5. And look at that. The Red Sox get out of it. Unbelievable. Nice job, Ziggy, getting the +2.5. Cooper Rush starting for Baltimore, says JM. Yeah, that's what we've expected here. I cannot. Could have got the +9.5 at the look ahead. It's crazy to me. Okay, so what did you get the Saints at?
-122.
Oh, that's a nice number. All right, I'm going to invest in the Saints tonight. I might. I don't. My concern is this keeps moving. I don't think that it moves back.
But I don't think it gets to a 3.
No, I don't think so either.
But the 2.5 is a great sign. The 2.5 is a great sign, despite the flipping. Even if you wanted to remove that, and just look at the 2.5. It's a good sign.
I'm in on the Saints. I'm going to bet them tonight. And apologies for the confusion on the extra rest and prep. Let's roll on. We move on to 1 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Cowboys, New York Jets. Cowboys 1-2-1, 0-2 on the road. Jets 0-4, 0-2 at home. We're at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 76 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 mile per hour winds. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Dallas Cowboys -2.5 at -113. The look ahead was a pick 'em, and then it comes out on Monday morning at -2 at -115. A half-point move towards Dallas to -2.5. And honestly, it's confusing. I mean, obviously,
yeah, it is. I agree.
It just, I guess, people believing what they saw with Dallas at home and thinking that the Jets are bad. I think it's a real overreaction. This total opened up at 46.5. It's now 47, juiced to the over. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 72% of the tickets, 73% of cash on Dallas. And on the total, 91% of tickets, 93% of cash on the over. DG says, I love the Jets here. He says, how the heck is Dallas favored on the road? It makes no sense to me. Harold Williams says Cowboys -2.5 will be one of his bets this week. And Coin saying Westgate's already moved that New Orleans to -2.5. I'm going to move on that here. Let's talk about the Cowboys. 281.3 yards per game through the air. It's number 1 in the league. Their rushing offense has surprised me enormously. Javonte Williams doing so much more than I expected him to do. They're 12th, 123 yards per game. The red zone offense, 8th. They score touchdowns 66.7% of the time. And their third down offense, 6th. They convert 42.6% of the time. So they have the number 1 passing offense in the NFL, 281.3 yards per game. And they have the worst passing defense in the NFL. They allow 297.3 yards per game. They allow more passing yards than they get, even though they're number 1 in the league in passing yards. Rushing defense, 20th. They allow 123.3 yards per game. Their third down defense is the worst in the NFL. 58.2% of the time the opponent converts. The red zone defense is 22nd at 64.71% of the time they are allowing touchdowns. Birdie says, if you throw out the game CD got hurt and look at the other 3 games the Cowboys have played, have the Cowboys been that bad? No, they haven't been that bad. But should they be favorites on the road just because we watched them put up 40 against the Packers at home? I don't know. Their pass rush is horrific, invisible, barely getting a sack a game. They come in off this wild 40-40 tie at home versus the Packers, second highest scoring tie in pro football history. The highest was 43-43. Prescott was 31 of 40 for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Without CeeDee Lamb, out with the ankle injury. Pickens caught 8 for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams ran 20 times for 85 yards and a touchdown. Cowboys were 4 or 5 in the red zone. The offense was excellent while the defense struggled tremendously. Packers were 11 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down and 5 for 6 in the red zone. The pass rush, as I said, was invisible. They did get a sack and 4 quarterback hits. Malik Hooker hurt himself, left toe injury. Schottenheimer said Monday that he will miss a couple weeks due to the toe injury. So Malik Hooker gone from an already questionable secondary. Miles Sanders injured an ankle. Schottenheimer said on Monday that he's trending toward being able to play. Tyler Guyton is in concussion protocol, their left tackle. Remember, Tyler Booker, their guard, and Cooper Beebe are already out. God, the more I talk about this game, the more I certainly going to be on the Jets, I think. I have to hear your analysis and listen to Cappers in the chat, but the Jets have not looked good. Passing offense 29th, 160.3 yards per game. Their rushing offense is 3rd, 144.5 yards per game. Their red zone offense 17th. They're hitting at 60%. Their 3rd down offense is bad, 29th in the league at 31.1% conversion rate. Their passing defense is 14th. They allow 199.8 yards per game. Their rush defense is 25th. Their rush defense being this week is a big surprise. The red zone defense has been strong, 12th in the league at 56.3%. 3rd down defense, 12th at 34.7%. And their pass rush has been hard to find. It's been hard to find. So the Jets are still searching for this first win under Coach Glenn. I think it happens this week, but they are on a short week. They lose 27-21 at Miami on Monday night. They outgained the Dolphins 404-300 in the loss. Their ground game was excellent, 7 yards per carry, but they turned the ball over 3 times. They were penalized 13 times. They wiped out a touchdown with a pass interference call against Garrett Wilson. Justin Fields was 20 of 27 for 226 yards and a touchdown, but he ran 7 times for 81 yards and a touchdown. Now, he did fumble. Breece Hall also got off, 14 carries for 81 yards, caught 5 for 30. Garrett Wilson caught 6 for 82 and a touchdown. Mason Taylor caught 5 for 65. The defense, the red zone was the difference. And we all saw it. The Jets go 0 for 2. The Dolphins go 3 of 4, and that's the game. The Jets did hold the Dolphins to 4 of 12 on 3rd down. Braylon Allen suffered a knee injury after the kick return. Second quarter did not return. He's listed as questionable this week. I don't expect him to be out there. Michael Carter, the second defensive back, left before halftime. He's in concussion protocol. Jermaine Johnson, their linebacker, was very important. Quarterback Jarvis Brownlee were inactive last week. They're both listed as questionable this week. This, to me, is... I don't know how I don't bet the Jets here. I sell the Cowboys high every opportunity I can all year. I'll sell them high. And this is my chance to sell them high. Take it away, Troy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, my only problem is why I'm not going to be able to move on this game is just knowing the history of these +3s, especially if we're going to stick at +3. I will reconsider my position on this game if I can start to see this number dipping below down to 2.5, starting to lean towards the 2, towards those price range where I can start using the money line price opposed to the spread itself. It's just such a shock when you plug this into the database. You look at the high total, you remove the divisional games because those are, I'm starting to realize, more and more irrelevant to the broader profile composition. And I'm looking at right now 10-1 straight up ATS. Huge trends to the under in favor of the road team. Now, the road teams in the sample do not fit the profile of a Cowboys team. So I'm throwing this one away as well. We're talking about the Bills, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Niners, the Lions, the Bills, the Rams. This is not a profile that is applicable to this game. So I'm going to throw that out as well. I'm really hoping to get my hands on this Jets team because you're talking about it perfectly. What you wanted, I kept you off a game between the Cowboys and the Chicago Bears 2 weeks ago in a very similar buy low, sell high spot. And I think I led you in the wrong direction. I was a bad steward in that game. I don't want to be that one in this game. I thought Dak Prescott was super impressive. What he was able to do to adjust to the complex zone coverage Green Bay was throwing at him, and he understood it. You could see it in his demeanor when he came off. The last time he came off the field before a punt, he was shaking his head like, yep. He was sitting on the bench with his coach with his tablet in his hand, shaking his head like, I see what's going on here. And every time they ran an inverted zone where those corners filled in behind for the safeties, basically playing the deep halves, he killed it. He crushed it. He knew exactly what he was looking for. Dak Prescott is really impressive. Right now, he's the number 1 QB in the NFL under pressure, the second best grade overall. And it's a reminder that good quarterback play can trump any market, any spread, any angle you might have, because he might be able to elevate to that situation. Also, I think about what happened in the Cowboys-Bears game. When CeeDee Lamb goes out and the entire game plan changes, he had a week to prepare. So what we've seen in Chicago wasn't really what we were going to get, right? It was being able to prepare without CeeDee Lamb for a full week, and we've seen a whole new offensive production. So the offense, I'm pretty bullish on for the Cowboys. How bullish I am on the offense is the exact opposite with this defense. I go through everything. It's terrible. From the defensive line to the pass rush to coverage. Eberflus's zone scheme relies on quality linebackers to play in coverage, and both of them are awful. This defense, you cannot make a case for this defense being any better than what we've seen at this point in the season. But it is, then you can make the case also that, hey, but this defense is going to be able to play against this Jets team because they're so one-dimensional on offense, play with 8 in the box, like I just talked about yesterday on prime time. Sell out to stop the run, force Fields to beat you through the air. And even with all that, it's hard to imagine that this Cowboys team gets any stops. The problem is with me getting on this Jets team from an X's and O's standpoint, if I get the market to move in my direction, is the defense. I mean, they want to play man coverage. I think they want to play man coverage because they got Sauce Gardner. But the problem is they don't have the personnel surrounding him that can play man coverage. They can't do what the coach is asking of them. And half of the Dolphins' offense against the Jets was action boot crossing route. That was like half of the Dolphins' offense. And they couldn't stop it. And they ran it 5 times. I think there was 5 completions on action boot crossing route. I had high hopes for this Jets coaching staff, but that's kind of starting to recede a little bit here. I'm going to watch this market very closely. I want the Jets. Jets are passed. There's no chance I'm going to be on the Cowboys in this game.
I get it. I guess it's sort of like optional misery. But, I mean, if you look at one of DG's comments here, he said, didn't that game feel like Dallas's Super Bowl? Parsons comes back, Sunday Night Football at home. Now you're out of conference at the winless, terrible Jets. I mean, it screams letdown spot. It screams sell high. But then you have to take, back the Jets. There's no doubt. Enough flesh on talking about, take the better quarterback. There's no doubt. But in saying that, that was as good as Dallas is going to look, and they still allowed 40 points. They still didn't win. At their best, the best they've looked all year, they don't win the football game. The problem is the short week. The problem is the Jets coming off 2 tough games in the heat. All right, I want the Jets. I don't think I move tonight. I think I need a little bit more time. There is our guy, Donut Silks, in the house, fresh off his 70-1 winner on the Guardians to win the division. Deacon says there's other games. No need to force a bet. I know, but I want, if this becomes the public spot, that's crazy, where it's 90% on the Cowboys, I will move on it. But let's roll on. Did you want to add anything to that Jets Cowboys? You ready to rock?
Let's get it. I'm ready to rock.
We have 1 p.m. Eastern, Denver Broncos 2-2, 0-2 on the road at Philadelphia Eagles 4-0, 2-0 at home. We're at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 77 Fahrenheit, sunny, 6 mile per hour winds. If you're a football purist, football fan, I don't know how you don't, just be enamored with the Eagles. They don't need to do much to beat you. They have it all going in the right direction. Special teams, offense, defense, they can run, they can pass, they can outthink you, they defend, they can defend the pass, they can defend the run. Their red zone defense is number 1 in the league. Their third down defense is 4th in the league. Their red zone defense is 3rd in the league. I apologize. 3rd in the league, red zone defense, 36.4%. The reason why it's not 1st in the league is because that's the Broncos red zone defense. But the Eagles red zone offense hasn't missed yet. 100%. 100%. Their passing offense is 2nd worst in the league. They're only getting 138 yards per game, and yet they can't be stopped. Harold Williams says Eagles offense garbage. This garbage offense, Harold, has lost 1 time over the last 365 days. And that was when Hurts left with a concussion in the first half against Washington. That's the only time they've lost in 365 days. I mean, this is... They only do what they need to do to get the win. Like, again, if they have a garbage offense, Harold, how could they be 100% in the red zone? Like, they're such a fun team to watch. It reminds me of watching Mahomes before he had Xavier Worthy back, trying to weave match. They do what they need to do to get the job done. And I'm so impressed with them. So let's set up the line history here for this one. When I saw a bunch of people on Philadelphia last week, and I was like, really? I couldn't believe it. I was like, isn't this the spot where they fall flat, where Tampa steps up? And man, the Eagles had minus 1 yard.
3.5, Jimmy. That 3.5 number is a bitch to deal with.
On the road, especially.
Yeah. Oh, especially on the road.
Minus 1 yard in the second half. The look ahead here was 5.5. It opens up on, Monday morning, Sunday night at midnight at 4.5. Now this is down to a 3.5. I mean, I don't know who wants to line up to fade the Eagles. This total is a 43.5. The look ahead was 43.5. Comes out on Sunday night at 44. So it's dropped a half point from then. And when we get to the cash flow here, from the cash flow, we have 64% of the tickets, 77% of cash on Denver. Fucking crazy. 80% of tickets on the over, 56% of cash on the under. So we'll start with the Broncos. The Broncos passing offense 16th in the league, 211.3 yards per game. Bo Nix hasn't looked very good. They're on a short week here going in on the road to play the Super Bowl champs. Rushing offense 5th at 143.3 yards per game. That's astonishing to me. I had no expectation that this rushing attack would be good. It's been good. Red zone offense 8, 66.7%. Third down offense 16th at 39.2%. Passing defense 9th. Rush defense 11th. As I said, red zone defense, they're only allowing touchdowns 25% of the time. It's unbelievable. And they're only allowing third down conversions 32.7% of the time. And no one has more sacks than the Denver Broncos. But they come in off a short week, but it was a dominating 28-3 victory at home on Monday over the Bengals. They outgained the Bengals 512 to 159, 29 first downs compared to just 9 for the Bengals. Bo Nix 29 to 42 for 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Cortland Sutton had 5 for 81 and touchdown. Marvin Mims caught 6 for 69 yards and ran once for a 16-yard touchdown. J.K. Dobbins ran 16 times for 101 yards. That's Denver's first 100-yard rushing game from a player since Latavius Murray in 2022 season finale. 38 games, including the playoffs, they haven't had a running back run for 100 yards. RJ Harvey ran 14 for 58, caught 4 for 40. Broncos were 8 of 14 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. They completely shut down the Bengals. The Bengals never crossed midfield after that opening field goal. They held them to 2 of 11 on third down, gave them 1 failed opportunity in the red zone. Pass rush had 3 sacks and 6 quarterback hits. Who cares what they did against the Bengals? Who cares? Why would the public think that on a short week they can go into Philadelphia and step up? Like, it's insane to me. We talked about the passing offense being stagnant and weak at this point. Rushing offense just 16th, but we talked about they have 100% in the red zone. They're 8th, third down, converting 41.8% of the time. Passing defense 17th, rush defense 21st, but that red zone defense third down defense 14th. Their pass rush has been very quiet thus far. Harold Williams says, I understand the Eagles are a great team, but their offense is not good, but they're 4-0 and very lucky, in my opinion. Sure. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I don't know why people are lining up to fade the Eagles, why they think the Broncos destroy the worst team in the league and anybody cares. The Eagles come off 31-25 victory at Tampa on Sunday. They were outgained 376-200. Jalen Hurts was 15-24 for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran 9 times for 62 yards. He was 0 for 8 in the second half, minus 1 yard of offense, but they keep winning. Saquon Barkley's been underwhelming. When does he explode? We haven't seen it yet. 19 carries, 43 yards, did catch 4 for 31. Dallas Goedert caught 4 for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns. Troy, A.J. Brown was held to 2 catches for 7 yards. The offense averaged 3.4 yards per play. How good of a football team do you need to be to average 3.4 yards per play and put up 31 points? The offense was 5 of 14 on third down, but 3 for 3 in the red zone, of course. They allowed 376 yards, but they held the Buccaneers whenever it mattered. The Buccaneers were 4 of 16 on third and fourth down, 0 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was held to just 2 sacks and 1 quarterback hit. Lane Johnson left again in the third quarter. He's listed as questionable. He's got a shoulder injury. It's a real problem. Jalen Carter exited in the fourth quarter with a shoulder injury. He's listed as questionable. Defensive end Ogbo is done for the year. He tore his triceps. Adoree Jackson was inactive with a groin injury, listed as questionable this week. This is crazy to me, Troy, that this would move towards the Broncos as if what they did to the Bengals means a goddamn thing. Take it away.
Oh, it's making me love this spot, to be honest. So I'm looking at, I talk about 3.5 all the time. What am I talking about? I'm going to snap this one. This is another one I'm going to be posting in Discord. What happens when a team opens below 6, the line moves towards the road team, and the home team closes between 3.5 and 4, which is currently what we're looking at. I could expand the range a little bit down to 3, down to 4.5. It won't matter. What you're going to find is the home team is winning in this, very similar to what I'm looking at right here, 20-10 ATS, 66%, 24-6 straight up. And if you remove the divisional factor, 12-4 ATS, 75%, 13-3 straight up. Also 13-3 to the over, which is a very similar over that I played in the Rams Colts game. And actually the Rams at the Eagles just the other day is a part of the last game in this sample. So I'm not scared of this market moving towards the Eagles. Now, if I started seeing it juice and the money line price starting to get below minus 180, maybe I'd be concerned at that point. But in this current state of the market, I am not scared at all. The Eagles at noise adjusted score, they lost that game per PFF 21-24. But if you go back and you watch that game, I watched every snap of that game, trying to will this team to the under, trying to will that game to the under. I watched every damn snap. They really just slammed on the brakes when they got that lead early and the Bucs were, shooting themselves in the foot, turning the ball over. They slammed on the brakes. I think there's no doubt about that. The Eagles have the personnel. They have coaching. They have a widespread IQ on how to win football games. And Jalen Hurts is the source of that. He knows what's necessary to put his team in position to win the game. You need him to hand it off 30 times. He's going to do it gladly. You need him to be a gunslinger like he was versus LAR to bring him back. He could do that gladly. You need him to pick up first downs with his legs. He's going to do that. You need a tush push. He could do it. He's well above average under pressure as well. Completion percentage, yards per attempt, turnover-worthy play, pressure to sack rate, way above average and the top of the league in all those categories. The hate for this guy is uncalled for at this point. The guy knows how to win football games. My concern with the offense is the offensive line creating yards. Right now, the run block rate is as low as I've ever seen it. It's 20th. And if you watch it if you put it on film, it's they're not creating many line yards. They're not creating a lot of opportunity. But you look at who they played. I mean, you got to kind of adjust it for who they played against the Rams, against the Buccaneers, who have Vita Vea and guys. One of the best run defenses in the league right now is the Bucs. They're great at the tackle position, which is what you need to be a good offensive line. But Tyler Steen and Cam Jurgens, the center and the right guard, have just been awful. So a little bit of concern there. The defense, I think this defense starts with Fangio, is elite. The personnel's there. The scheme around them is great. Cooper DeJean, he's all right. I mean, he's one of the best DBs in the NFL. He's the jack of all trades. You could put him at safety. You could put him at on the slot. You could put him in the box. You could have him cross match. He knows exactly what's at. He's the highest IQ player in the secondary I've watched in my entire life. The guy has a great knack, great instinct for football. And Quinyon Mitchell, he's really the guy that stepped up for this defense. Go watch some tape on Quinyon Mitchell. This man is great. This man knows how to stay attached to the hip. I know he's had his problems, and he's gotten exposed a few times this season. But look, year over year, this guy's, I think he's rising to stardom. That's personally my opinion. And I think Jalen Carter, he's drawn a double every single play, and that leaves the two linebackers who are dogs, Vaughn and Jihad, untouched. It leaves a man untouched because Jalen Carter's demanding that double team. I think the Eagles team is really good. I really do. I was skeptical about it after what I see in the first 2 weeks, but the more I watch them, you're right. It does kind of remind you of what Mahomes and the Chiefs team has been able to do. And the Broncos, even though I backed them, I'm still pretty low on this team. They had this. It's the Bengals. We're talking about the Bengals here, and they haven't played this is going to be the best defense they've seen by far. And yes, Bo Nix bounced back, but is he going to just come out on the road in Philly and look great against Fangio's defense? He's probably going to come out. I believe we're going to see 2-4-5 mostly from Fangio this week. I think we're going to see a constant mix of man or zone, a little bit of hybrid, some cross match. I can't imagine the Broncos offense is going to be able to repeat that performance. And I think that this defense is perfect for Jalen Hurts to expose. They play man coverage on 43% of their snaps, the Broncos, under Vance Joseph. Just Jalen Hurts thrives versus man coverage. Completion percentage up 5% to 70%. Yards per attempt from 7.5 to 8.5. Passer rating, turnover worthy play. His successful scramble rate from 7.9 to 11.2. Sack rate drops by 40%. He also thrives versus the blitz. So what is Vance Joseph going to do? I think that this is a good matchup. Really good chance to fade the Broncos. I already backed the Eagles. I took the -4. And my plan is I'm going to bet this down. I hope that I get a -3, -125. I'm definitely going to have the Eagles in a money line parlay of some nature, but I got a -4, -102. And at this point, I'm not taking a juice 3.5. I'd rather buy down to the 3, which doesn't historically. Say it again.
It's not that expensive to buy the 3.
What are you getting?
At the very worst, -138. That's the worst line I can find. I can find better ones than that.
I'll have to think about that a little bit because, if we can get what's the money line price? I'm not scared of taking a -200 at this point. After what I've seen and how these teams have performed in this type of market and understanding what I think this matchup becomes, I like it.
Do we? Right now, Denver is a public dog. And I think it's fair for TJ to assume that will change. But 64% of tickets, 77% of cash on the Broncos, moving the line down to 3.5. Birdie says, why would you buy down to a 3 when you have a 70+ win rate at 3.5? The 3.5, that's the spot that hits nonstop is on the road team, not the home team.
Well, it's because a lot of it is because the Eagles and how they've been just so comfortable after they get the lead to just cruise. And so I do think that the back door could be open in this game. So I do get a little concerned, but that's why I'm going to bet it multiple ways. I'm going to take a 4. I'll take a 3. I'll take a money line parlay. It's a good question, though, and it warrants more discussion, Birdie. Real talk.
And I'm not going to bet this tonight. I want to see what happens with this market.
Yeah, there's no rush on this one. 100%. I just had to get something down because I wanted to come to this show strapped with the bet that I'm going to have on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Because it's up to you, the capper, to decide what angle do you find most important. And when it came down to investing heavily in the Dolphins, it was just the fact that this was a second straight road game in the heat, and we had a Dolphins team on extra rest. Here, the most important angle to me is that Denver just destroyed the worst team in the NFL at home, after 2 straight last-second losses. And the Eagles have faced the toughest competition in the NFL. We haven't even talked about what Dennis was talking about, that how bad Fangio wants to stick it in the Broncos' throat.
Wow.
I can't imagine Fangio wanting to beat a team more than what he would want, how he'd want to beat the Broncos. I need to, on odds logic right now, 36% of the tickets, 33% of the cash on the Eagles. I'll wait on this one. I'll wait and see what happens with the market. And I do want.
All right. I'm adding a money line parlay. I'm adding a money line parlay, and I'm going to just pair it with the Rams. I'm going to have the Rams money line basically 3 ways. And at that point, do I take a? All right, I'm going to bounce. We'll come back to it, Jimmy. I'm going to be adding a bet today on this game.
All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us is 1 p.m. Eastern, Miami Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers. Give me a second here. I need to change the graphics. Sorry, Jose is away for a second. And this is, man. Okay, here we go. Miami Dolphins and Carolina Panthers, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, 74 Fahrenheit, light rain, 10 mile per hour winds. Dolphins coming off their first win of the season, 27-21 at home over the Jets, but it was a costly victory. Tyreek Hill suffered a dislocated kneecap, multiple torn ligaments, and is done for the season. Let's take a look at the line history here for Miami, Carolina. We have a total of 44.5. Choose to the under. The look ahead was 46.5. Came out Sunday night at 45.5, dropped 44.5. Let's take a look at the point spread here for this one. I'm looking at Carolina, and we talked about how much we wanted to sell them high after a 30-0 victory. I don't think it's that different than selling Denver after beating up on Cincinnati. I know that Denver's a much, much better football team and probably shouldn't make that comparison, but we were given this glorious opportunity with Carolina beating Atlanta 30-0 to fade them. And the market told us that was the thing to do because the look ahead was 5.5. Carolina beats Atlanta 30-0. Line opens up at 4, and it goes right back to 5.5 immediately. Here, Carolina opened up, or the look ahead was -1.5. It comes out Sunday night +1.5. And it bounces all over the place. They become favored again, and then it becomes a pick 'em. Now they're +1. I guess probably the money line is the better way of looking at what's going on in this one. So why don't we move over to the money line very quickly? We have Miami -118. They opened up. The look ahead was -125. I guess that wasn't a look ahead because it was only on the spread. There was no money line look ahead. So this came out on Monday morning at -125. -125 for the fish. There's a pretty quick 20-cent move away from them. The fish get to +105. So there was a real legit move towards Carolina. And as if it was market manipulation or something, then Miami gets hammered down to -123 pretty quickly. I guess as soon as it got to it. And I know there's limits to this anyway, so it couldn't have got hammered too much. But there's the situation. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have no information on the total, but we know 61% of the tickets, 74% of cash is on the Carolina Panthers. Talk about the Dolphins. Their passing offense, 22nd in the league, yards-wise, 188.3. Rushing offense, 27th, 98 yards per game. Vincent Hawkins wanting the over here in this one. Their red zone offense, and this is, pretty regular for Tua Tagovailoa. It's very good. Red zone offense right now is second in the NFL. Scoring touchdowns 80% of the time. Their third down offense is second in the NFL, converting 48.9% of the time. Their passing defense has been a problem. Their rushing defense has been even worse. Their defense is a real problem. Their third down defense is the second worst in the NFL. Their allow conversions 51.1% of the time. The red zone defense is okay. Their pass rush has been a problem, but starting to get a little bit better. Skydragon says Miami on the road is a favorite I don't want, but Carolina stinks. Dolphins coming off their first win this season, 27-21 home over the Jets. Tyreek had 6 catches for 67 yards before he got hurt. Tunga Bailoa was 17-25 for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's interesting that Vincent Hawkins wants over, because my first thought is to hammer the under, honestly. Darren Waller hasn't played in 2 years, comes and catches 2 touchdowns. I wonder what his recovery is going to be like. I don't think it's going to be very good. Devon Achane, 20 carries for 99 yards, touchdown. The Dolphins were outgained 404 to 300. I was surprised when I read some of these stats because I felt like after the Jets fumbled at the 5 or whatever, it was all Dolphins. They were just in complete control of the football game. There was not one point where I was concerned even a little bit that we weren't going to cash everything. But they were outgained 404 to 300. Dolphins were just 4 of 12 on third down. They won the game in the red zone, 3 of 4, holding the Jets to 0-2. Dolphins defense got gashed on the ground. 197 yards, 7 yards per carry. The rushing offense for the Carolina Panthers is 26th in the NFL. It's weak. Shout out to my dude in the house. Skydragon says he wants Miami team total under. Hopefully a cheaper 23.5 shows up. Terry Walker says, who is starting for the Panthers? Bryce Young is starting for the Panthers. They're not making a change at this point unless somebody knows something that I don't. I understand that he was pulled for Andy Dalton, but Bryce Young is the starter here. So Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner, 2 cornerbacks, were inactive. They're listed as questionable this week. It's a problem. The pass rush is a problem as well with the Dolphins. It's not very good. For these Carolina Panthers, passing offense 21st in the league, 189 yards per game. Rushing offense 26th, 100.3. Red zone offense 6th in the league, 70% conversion rate, but they're barely ever there. Third down offense 20th at 38.2%. Their pass defense is 12th in the league. They allow 198.3 yards per game. Rushing defense 20, third line 129.3. Red zone defense 19th, third down defense 15th. This is the worst pass rush in the NFL. They get less than a sack a game. What a difference a week makes. 2 weeks ago, we watched Panthers dismantle Atlanta at home 30-0. Last week, they get destroyed 42-13 at New England. And they actually outgained the Patriots in the loss 326 to 307. Bryce Young was 18 of 30 for 150 yards and a touchdown. Andy Dalton came in, looked good, but who cares? It was garbage time. McMillan caught 4 passes for 62 yards. He's very good. Chuba Hubbard ran 10 times for 49 yards, caught 3 passes for 20 yards. Vincent Hawkins says, well, Jimmy, you just answered the question. Miami got cashed on the ground. Chuba Hubbard goes off. I mean, is he capable of it? He ran 10 times for 49 yards and caught 3 passes for 20 yards against New England. I'm a Hubbard fan, but we've not seen him deliver at this point. The offense was 6 of 17 for third and fourth down, but did go 2-2 in the red zone. But that was the first opportunity and then the garbage time that didn't matter. The defense held the Patriots at 3 of 9 on third down, but let them go 4 for 4 in the red zone. The pass rush was nowhere to be found again. 1 quarterback hit, 1 sack. And then they lose David Moore, carted off the field after suffering an elbow injury. They also have their right guard, Chandler Zavala, questionable with a knee injury. Their defensive tackle, Cam Jackson, limped off the field. We're going to wait for the Wednesday injury report. Their wide receiver, Dalavon Campbell, left with a hamstring injury. He's been ruled out. David Canales then told us on Monday that Xavier Legette's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's day-to-day. They played without linebackers DJ Wanham and Patrick Jones. They were inactive. They're listed as questionable this week. I mean, look, I'm not running to back the Dolphins. We made nice cash off them last week, short week. This is probably a buy low spot on Carolina. That doesn't really interest me. I don't really see how points are going to be scored. But the red zone offense for both squads has been really good. How many opportunities will they get? The red zone defense for both squads is actually pretty good. But take it away, Troy. I'm all ears.
Yeah, the under does look appealing in this game, actually. Sorry, guys.
What's
My
okay,
son's
man?
having a mental breakdown right outside my door. He wants in. He wants in, and he wants to kick the door down to get in.
Why wouldn't he, man? We're talking
We're
Panthers
talking ball.
Dolphins.
We're talking Panthers Dolphins. What is better in life than talking Panthers Dolphins? I mean, this Panthers. How could you fade this team on the side after what we just seen? After we just faded them. Now I did some semi-fade them with a teaser because I do believe this is going to be a low-scoring game. I do believe whoever's catching points in this matchup is worth a teaser, and that's why I did tease the Dolphins up to 7.5. And now when I'm looking at this profile in the database, I'm seeing 68 to 72% trends to the under and 90+% teasers on the Panthers. So maybe I come back and tease this game both ways and hope for a middle because I do think that that's likely in this game. I mean, who are this Panthers team? It's hard to quantify what we've seen. They got destroyed by Jacksonville in week 1. I thought that they lost in impressive fashion. TJ's saying who's going to watch this game. It's funny. I never watch the Panthers games on Sunday, but somehow, some way, during the week, I'm always going back and watching Panthers tape for whatever reason it might be. Usually it's to fade a team that they played against recently. And then they beat the brakes off of Atlanta, a fraudulent score. And then they got stomped by New England. But the one thing about this game in New England, the noise adjusted score, they only lost that game by 3 points, according to PFF, 27-24. It's the 2 special team touchdowns that really changed the complexion. And I do think that the Panthers the Patriots were more than a touchdown better than the Panthers this past week. The offensive line for the Panthers is above average. They're still struggling to run the ball. They have slightly below average quarterback play, slightly below average, wide receiver options. I think that the issue with this offense, like I've talked about with Bo Nix, like I've talked about with Penix, like I talked about with a lot of these young quarterbacks, Stroud is another one. The yards per attempt, the ADOT. Right now, Bryce Young's yards per attempt is the 3rd lowest in the NFL, right behind Cam Ward, Flacco, and Rattler. If you don't stretch the defense, your offense becomes easy to defend. You can't run the football. It doesn't matter how their offensive line is grading out great in the run blocking category. So why can't they run the ball? And it's because they're not stretching the defense. The defense is pretty weak. Now, they do have Derek Brown on the front. They got J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson. They got some good players. But everyone else on this defense is not NFL caliber stars. The pressure rate at 7%, it's not a good recipe when you're playing Tua. He's going to punish you if you give him that much time. And it's not like I'm extremely high on the Dolphins, just like you. We just cashed on them. I'm good with that money. They did beat the Jets, what seemed to be comfortably, but once you look under the hood, they lost 3 fumbles. There's some things that went terribly wrong for the Jets team, but the Jets did jet. That's what the Jets do. The Dolphins win games at home. And I think that this is on paper a pretty good matchup. Easy offense to prepare for, no vertical threats. A Panthers defense which cannot pressure the quarterback. Tua is going to be comfortable. A Panthers defense which plays cover 3 zone at the highest rate in the NFL. So Tua should be able to settle in and deliver the football from a pocket. Yeah, I'm on the teaser with the Dolphins. I guess I'm thinking about the under. I'm thinking about a teaser with the Panthers coming back the other way, but I'd be hard pressed to have 3 bets in this game.
I guess now, sitting with it, it's becoming more clear that we do have a sell the Dolphins high and buy the Panthers low spot. And I should probably take advantage of it. The problem is I don't know what we're going to get from this Panthers defense from week to week. And they have no pass rush to speak of. I mean, but we did watch them shut down the Falcons 30-0 in the last time they were at home. A coin saying since 2022, Miami 17-2 straight up versus under 500 teams. I guess initially I was clouded just because we invested in the Dolphins and were rewarded, and it was extremely important. But now that I'm sitting with this for longer, this has got to be a Browns-esque spot because the Panthers might be bet on at home. Just like the Browns. And then you have the Panthers go out on the road, get demolished, and then we get a nice opportunity to back Carolina. So Scott, DG says you can double Waddle, but how can you stop Achane? Yeah, it's an issue. But I'm starting to, so because I'm twisting. And I understand the psychology behind why I like the Dolphins just because of what we just made. It was last night. So short week on the road against the Panthers. I do like Carolina here. I'm not going to move on it tonight. I want to sit with it longer. But I am a little surprised. My dude says, how are the Giants not favored? I'm both Troy and I are on the Saints. I think the Saints are going to take care of business here against the Giants, but that's a game we've already talked about. And the idea, how are the Giants not favored being part of the public sentiment is exactly why I'm going to bet the Saints coming back home, where I thought they looked pretty good in those first two games. But again, different game. Let's roll on. The Panthers here. I'm not betting tonight. I'm certainly interested in them. Going to see what happens with the market. Anything you want to add before we get into Texans Ravens?
No, let's get it.
I messaged people about the Texans being plus 9.5, and I just got too caught up. Now, obviously, it stings so much. Also, it stings knowing that the Ravens are 1-3 to start the year, and it's a very uncomfortable situation. Only 5 teams in the 14-team playoff era have started 1-3 and made the postseason. And they are an absolute mess, the Ravens, right now. I mean, Lamar Jackson out, so Cooper Rush is going to be in. They've lost Matt Abuike for the season. The pass rush looked awful without him. Roquan Smith out. Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins got hurt. So they were without 7 defensive starters. Another pass rush, Broderick Washington Jr. went on injured reserve before the game. Left tackle, and extremely important left tackle, Ronnie Stanley left the game. It feels like they're just going to just let this one go. Kyle Van Noy's not coming back with the neck injury. Oh, he's going to come back at some point. But so no Nate Wiggins, no Marlon Humphrey, take 2 cornerbacks out. I mean, it's a really, really bad spot here for Baltimore. So let's set this one up. Texans, Ravens here. Texans coming off the 26-0 win over the Titans. Let's get into the line history. We have Baltimore right now. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em. I guess probably. I mean, we'll talk. The look ahead was 9 or 9.5. It was 9.5 at 365, 9.5 at this offshore, and then it came out at 8:22 on Monday morning at a 7. Which is insane. 6.5, 6, 4.5, 3.5, 3, down to a 1. Gets down to a 1, and then the Texans money starts coming in. This moves to Texans minus 2.5, and then that stopped. People started moving on the Ravens at that price, which is interesting. So that's the situation here. From a total standpoint, we have the 40. A 40. The look ahead was 46. This came out again on Monday morning, not 8:22 a.m. at 44.5. Dropped all the way down to 40. There's not been buyback. It's just dropped and dropped and dropped. When we get to the cash flow, then for this spot, we have 64% of tickets on Houston and 79% of the cash. So here we go. M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland, 74 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 mile per hour winds. Texans have looked bad. Their red zone offense, second worst in the NFL. Their third down offense, second worst in the NFL. Both passing offense, rushing offense is very weak. Their defense has been strong. Their pass rush is strong, 7th in the league, 2.8 sacks per game. Pass defense, 7th in the league, 178.3 yards they're allowing game. Rush defense, just 102.3 on the ground. Red zone defense has been a problem, but that should change. And their third down defense has been pretty strong, 13th in the league, 35.9%. And then they go on their bye after this meeting with the Ravens. So they come in off an easy 26-0 victory at home over the Titans, get their first win this season. Texans' first shutout since 2010. They outgained the Titans 353 to 175. CJ Stroud was 22-28 for 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Nico Collins had 4 catches for 79 yards. Woody Marks stepped up 7 carries for 69 yards, caught 4 passes for 50 yards and touchdown, 6 of 15 on third down, perfect 3 for 3 on fourth down. And the defense was dominant. Didn't allow the Titans to have a red zone opportunity, held them to 2 of 12 on third and fourth down. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, and the great Derek Stinling had an interception for 20 yards. I don't think it makes any sense to go over the Ravens' offensive statistics, as that is very different with Cooper Rush at quarterback. But their pass defense is second worst in the league, allowing 265.5 yards a game. Their rush defense is second worst in the league, allowing 164.3 yards per game. Their red zone defense, 28th in the league. They're allowing touchdowns 75% of the time. Their third down defense, 24th in the league, allowing conversions 41.9% of the time. And they have their third worst pass rush in the NFL. A lot of surprises here. A ton of surprises. So the Ravens come off the ugly 37-20 loss at Kansas City. Very costly. Lamar Jackson with the hamstring injury. He was 14-20 for 147 yards, touchdown, and a pick before he left. He also lost a fumble. Cooper Rush came in and looked bad. He looked a little better as it went on. 9-13 for 52 yards. Zay Flowers caught 7 for 74. Justice Hill had a huge touchdown run in meaningless garbage time. His statistics look good, but who cares? Ravens were 4-14 on third and fourth down. We're just 1 of 2 in the red zone. The defense looked pitiful. They did hold the Chiefs to 5 of 15 on third down, but I think it's more about the Chiefs. And the Chiefs did go 4-4 on fourth down. Matt Abouike done for the season. Pass rush was non-existent. The Chiefs went 4 of 6 in the red zone. This is a mess of massive proportions. Take it away for us here, Troy. Texans, Ravens.
I'm really concerned about my futures with this Ravens team. They're just such a letdown in so many areas. Lamar Jackson, it starts with him. Career low grades in PFF, no matter how you want to look at it, particularly under pressure. He's been awful, and he's had less escapability. He's been getting ran down from behind for the first time I've ever seen by linebackers. And these aren't like, this is Barnes. These are guys that are not very speedy, athletic linebackers. They're able to catch him and just trip him up. You just never see that before. The offensive line is not underperforming, so it's got to be a Lamar problem. But I think it's also a Monken problem, because I texted you on Sunday. The game plan Monken put together against the Chiefs, it made no sense. It was the worst I've seen all season, a pass-heavy approach against Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense. It makes no damn sense. I don't know what happened that game. The defense lacks schematics, and it has an aging roster that's now beaten and battered even worse. And the injuries are just piling up. Like this is a problem for this Ravens team. And now I'm looking at the Texans, talking about futures. Like, the Texans are starting to look pretty good in the futures market, plus 600 or better on the division price. It's pretty good. I mean, I believe in Stroud. I think he's improved week over week. His spray chart starting to balance out. His ADOT after the first 2 weeks has spiked up. The receiving options look much better once you insert Kirk into the starting lineup. Now you got 3 good options. The offensive line is actually blocking. 10th in the run block category. And if you see it, they're staying on blocks. And the rise of Woody Marks, like it's began. He averaged 4 carries in the first 3 weeks, 4 carries per game, got 17 last game. It was clearly the best running back that they ran on the field. The offensive line is really just the pass blocking is so bad. Like, and it's coaching. It comes back to coaching, because they cannot pick up a blitz. If you see a blitz, a team that blitzes, it's going to be a massive problem for this offensive line. They can't seem to figure it out. And we know the Texans defense. I mean, they have 4 blue chips on the defensive line, 3 blue chips in the secondary, and the best linebacker in football. So, I bet the Texans. I have to bet the Texans in this spot. I bet it before Lamar Jackson got announced out. I was texting you about it this morning. I look back at it, and the price is way too far gone. And now I am seeing resistance in the market. I was thinking about adding a money line. I don't know why I don't add a money line, because technically we still have a number that I don't know if I would consider it the same market as I usually would be calling this a cash cow market. I mean, this is a different situation. So I am still interested in adding Ravens money line, Texans money line.
What do you get the Texans at?
I got Texans 3.5 at a good number. I got minus 110. And that was available all morning. Until all of a sudden it flipped.
Yeah, it's a sickening feeling having futures on the Ravens. Hopefully the Rams futures kind of balance everything out, but it's certainly a sickening feeling. What is your expectation of Cooper Rush here? Do you think
I
that
don't understand why they have Cooper Rush as a backup quarterback. You kind of want to keep things fluid and consistent. Mobile quarterback. Now you insert Cooper Rush. It makes no sense. And for good measure, I'm going to add the Texans money line as a show of faith. I'm going to add the money line right now. Let's see what price I can get.
All right, all makes sense. God, I can't believe I didn't move on that fucking 9.5. I wanted the 9.5, even if Lamar, like if the Ravens had played well and won, the 9.5 was still not going to be there. It still would have opened it at 8. God, I got to start hitting these look ahead markets. This one slapped me in the face. I have to start moving on them.
All right, I got the Texans money line minus 120.
All right, Texans minus 120 here. Yeah, Ziggy, that was the look ahead. It was the only one that I wanted too, and fucking got just caught up.
Oh right. man, I should take this opportunity to bring up a game we talked about. I just looked at my notes and I'm like, well, how did I forget to talk about this? Can I talk about this now? You want to touch on it quickly after this game?
Sure. We can get Jose to put a graphic. What game did you want to touch on?
I want to just touch on the squeaky wheel. Me and my boy Fabo talk about the squeaky wheel gets the grease. These wide receivers.
Jose, if we could just quickly go back to that Eagles graphic.
Yeah, go back to that Eagles graphic. I even texted you about this one. I can't believe I didn't cover it. We've been talking about the squeaky wheel theory for years. We've been talking about who's the squeaky wheel each week, and I'm not the one catching him. He is. So it's time to get involved. We got the man coverage. We got blitzing. We got A.J. Brown in one-on-one matchups, and that's what I love to see. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. A.J. Brown this week is going to go over his prop. It's not available yet, but when it's open, I'm going to be on A.J. Brown over receiving yards. And I might have it two ways. I might have an alt over as well.
I mean, he's 2 catches for 7 yards. He's nonplussed. Andrew G says, make AJ happy again. Okay, squeaky wheel play. So have you bet that?
No, it's not available yet, but I will be watching it closely.
There's Slim Fabo in the house right now. Let's roll on. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. The Tennessee Titans 0-4, 0-2 on the road. The Arizona Cardinals 2-2, 1-1 at home. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Brian Callahan has lost the group, and they're 3-18 with Callahan. It just seems like all this is out of his league, and so I'm very interested. Listening to Justin Simmons talk, I felt bad for him. It sucks. I mean, you could tell this is the way they just don't even want to come to the facility. So let's talk about the spot. And I don't want to get too caught up in the psychology around all that, but I would imagine that if they were to bounce back, it would likely come at home and not on the road, as we've seen with the Carolina Panthers. In our first 4:05 game, we have a total right now of 41.5. There are 41s out there. The look ahead was 42, and then it came out on Sunday night at 41, dropped to 40.5, came back up to 41.5, sitting here at 41.5. Sports scientist Jacob says, why is this line 42.5? He's on the under 42.5 here. Let's take a look at the spread from a point spread scenario. We have a 7.5. That's a big number, man. The look ahead was 8. Came out on Sunday night at 9. Got up to 9.5, and then it didn't move to 7.5 until about 3:00 today. It's a pretty big move. Obviously, some sharp action moving it. I know limits are still in place. We have 77% of tickets. 92% of cash on Arizona, 91% of tickets, 92% of cash on the over. Wager Detective on the other side, looking at the over 41.5. Spenny says maybe Marv found something last game. Think he could have another good game versus secondary. Drewski looking at the Titans team total over 15.5. Kent Davies looking at Trey Benson rushing receiving, perhaps a touchdown. And Spenny as well looking at Trey Benson. So let's talk about the Titans' worst offense, worst offense, but worst passing offense in the league. 123.5 yards per game. The third worst rushing offense in the league, 87 yards per game. Their red zone offense, 27th. They score touchdowns 42.9% of the time. Third down offense, worst in the league, converting 27.8% of the time. And it's hard to find where they're better. On defense, a little better. 22nd, allowing 227 yards through the air. 28th, allowing 141.5 on the ground. Their red zone defense hasn't been that bad. Allowing their 9th. They allow touchdowns 53.3% of the time. Third down defense, 16th. Allow conversions 38% of the time. And their pass rush is horrible, averaging 1 sack a game. They come off of being shut out 26-0 by the Texans in Houston. The first time they were shut out since 2019. 0-4. They've lost 10 straight going back to last season. That ties their longest streak since moving from Houston to Tennessee. Callahan now 3-18 as a head coach. Outgained 353 to 175. Cam Ward 10-26 for 108 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Io Manor caught 2 passes for 44 yards, lead receivers. Tony Pollard ran 14 times for 64 yards. Offense was 2 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down. Never had a red zone attempt. The defense tried to keep them in it, but they fell apart late. Texans had the ball for 38 minutes, 21 seconds. So they would hold the fort as long as they could, but then they just buckle. Late, it was 6-0 going into the 4th quarter. They held the Texans to 6 of 15 on 3rd down, but allowed them to go 3 of 3 on 4th down, 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush had 2 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. Cardinals passing offense 28, 164.8 yards per game. Rushing offense 22nd, 105.8. Their offense is so much worse than I thought it would be this year. Their red zone offense 19th, scoring touchdowns 53.9% time. Third down offense 19th, converting 38.5% time. Their defense is bad. Pass defense terrible, allowing 255.5 yards per game through the air. Rush defense is okay. Their red zone defense and third down defense is strong. I expect their defense to get stronger as the season goes on. They seem to be playing less than the sum of their parts. Arizona comes in off extra rest and prep after falling 23-20 to the Seahawks at home last Thursday. Lost 8 straight to the Seahawks. They were outgained 384 to 253. Kyler Murray 27-41 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He also ran 5 times for 41 yards. Look, Marvin Harrison looked terrible in the first half, but he came on late. And Spenny's right to think that maybe he can turn the season around. He caught 6 passes for 66 yards and a touchdown. Did cause that interception, egregious interception off of his hands. McBride caught 7 for 52. Running game struggled in their first game without James Conner. But Trey Benson did look dangerous at times. He ran 8 times for 35 yards, caught 5 for 19. The offense only put up 4 yards per play, but they were 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense let the Seahawks put up 384 yards and 6 yards per play. The Seahawks were 6 of 13 on 3rd down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The pass rush did have 3 sacks. So second straight walk-off loss for the Cardinals. So they're an angry group. You know, they lost 16-15 to the 49ers on the last second field goal. It's the first time since 1988 that the Cardinals have lost 2 games in a row in the final play of regulation. We could tell that Will Johnson wasn't out there at corner. He's missed his 2nd straight game. Zay Jones with a concussion. Offensive lineman Will Hernandez with a knee. He was inactive. And then they lose defensive lineman Darius Robinson with a chest injury in the second half. We'll get a better idea of that with the Wednesday injury report. It's an angry Cardinals team. And I don't want to buy the Titans low. And so I'm kind of between and betwixt here. Take it away, Titans, Cardinals, Troy.
This is a market I'm going to be talking about twice here coming up. Once now and once in a game later. When we have a line movement towards a road team and it closes between -10 and -7. I actually pointed this out the other day in the Broncos game. Line move towards road team closes between -10 and -7. In division, which this game is not, the road team is 8-3 ATS, 73%. When not in division, the home team is 11-3 ATS, 78%. There's 94 games that close between -7 and -10 over the past since 2022. Only 25 of them have moved towards the road team. Pretty shocking. You don't see that drastic of a split. So when you see this line movement, it typically is a bullish move, I would say, and it's a telling move, I should say. I don't want to even say telling. It just gives me a green light to pull a trigger, and that would be on the Cardinals in this case. And it's not a team that I'm looking to back. I think they're talking about in the chat the weakest strength of schedule in the NFL. And after going back and watching Arizona, Carolina, and Arizona, New Orleans, so I've watched both those games twice. They're not a good football team. And Kyler Murray lost his blankie and James Conner. That's why I faded this team so heavily last week on the back of a bullish market. And the Cards got outgained by two yards per play. And without that 4th quarter, they really did nothing. This team is cleanly below average in my opinion. PFF got them 21st in both offense and defense. And I would say this is probably the range between 20th and 25th in terms of the best team in the MLB. So what does that tell us about the Titans? Is that they are awful, god awful. It's a disgrace what we're seeing in Tennessee, and it's been the same shit for weeks, if not years. Terrible coaching. I think this guy's on his last foot. On his absolute last foot, Callahan is as the head coach. Poor integration, terrible integration of a rookie quarterback. Their use of motion is at the 30th rate in the NFL. Very little RPO, very little play action. Clearly the worst offensive team in the NFL, and it's not even close in my opinion. Well, at first pass, I really wanted to be on the Titans in this game. The more I dug into the market, the more I dug into just how bad the Titans are. It's got to be Cardinals or pass, but I'm just not interested in backing this Cardinals team. It's not like I'm rushing to the window to get my money down on the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to back either of these teams.
Cheshire Cat. How about those Chiefs, baby? How about those Chiefs?
I wouldn't mind backing Arizona as a dog in situations, but I can't move on it here. And then from a total standpoint, I do think that Jacob's probably right on the under. It's a very low total. I mean, it's going to be a sweat. I guess I'm going to just have some interest in the under, but I'm certainly not moving on it tonight. Shout out to Dabby Cab in the house. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-1, 2-0 on the road at Seattle Seahawks 3-1, 1-1 at home. We're at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. 60 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 6 mile per hour winds. Getting to the line history here, we have a total of 44.5. Opened the look ahead was 45.5. Opens up Sunday night, 6:33 p.m. at 44. Got up to 45, back down to 44.5. We get to the side here. We have the Seahawks minus 3.5 at minus 107. The look ahead was 2. Comes out on Sunday at 3, and it just moves blatantly in the Seahawks direction. Blatantly. Heavily. From a cash flow standpoint, we have 50% of the tickets, but 61% of the cash on Seattle. It's a sharp move to Seattle. Big move. 94% of tickets on the over, 85% of cash on the over, which is a bit of a surprise. Harold Williams leaning towards the Bucs here. Let's start with the Bucs. Passing offense 15th in the league, not being as good as we expected it to be. Dealing with some injuries, obviously, with Evans out. And a changing of the guard at wide receiver with Ibuka. Rushing offense 10th in the league, 124 yards a game. Bucky's a monster, but he is dealing with an undisclosed injury right now. I don't know if anybody,
He's having an MRI, Jimmy. He's not playing, in my opinion. Like, there's no way we could expect him to play. If you're having an MRI, it tells me that you're likely not going to be available.
And that's got to be why it's gone through the 3.5. Chosen one saying his ankle got rolled up. So that's a huge that's got to be it. So maybe it's not the sharp action. Birdie's already on the over in this one. So maybe it's just the fact that Bucky's not going to be available, and he is being phenomenal. Jermaine saying Bucky out. So the Buccaneers' red zone offense has been terrible this year. Strange. And Mike Evans not being around is probably part of it. 29th in the league, 36.4% touchdown rate. Third down offense, 22nd, 37% conversion rate. So some real problems in offense. And we know Liam Cohen's not there anymore. Grizzard is. Passing defense, 11th, allowing 187.8 yards per game. Their rush defense with Big Vita Vea out there is 5th in the league, allowing 85 yards per game. Red zone defense, 15th. They're allowed touchdowns 60% of the time, but their third down defense is very good. Third in the league at 32.7%. 12th in sacks, 2.5 a game. Buccaneers coming off their first loss of the season, 31-25 at home versus the Eagles. Outgained the Eagles 376-200 in the loss. Baker was 22 of 40 for 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Bucky caught 15 for 63. Ran 15 times for 63, caught 5 for 102 touchdown. Did lose a fumble, and now he's out after the MRI. Ibuka caught 4 for 101 in a touchdown. The game was lost in the red zone. Eagles were 3 of 3. Bucs were 0 of 2. Bucs were just 4 of 16 on third and fourth down. They held the Eagles to 3.4 yards per play, but failed in the most important moments of the game. The pass rush struggled. Vita Vea had 2 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. The rest of the team had 0 sacks and 1 quarterback hit. you want Vita Vea to sit there and plug up the hole, plug up the running game. If he is your pass rush, it's not good. It means you're not getting anything from the edge. Chase McLaughlin, 65-yard field goal for Tampa on the final play of the first half, longest in NFL history in an outdoor stadium. Tristan Wirfs was back. So was Chris Godwin, made their season debuts. Godwin finished with 3 catches for 26 yards. Mike Evans still dealing with a hamstring injury. He didn't play. And talk about where was the edge? Well, Hassan Reddick left with a concussion. So he's in concussion protocol. He may not play. Jamel Dean with a hip and groin injury. That happened during the game. They had a bunch of injuries during the game. Safety Rashad Wisdom had a quad injury. Defensive lineman Greg Gaines had a pec injury. Cornerback Benjamin Morrison had a hamstring injury. All 4 are listed as questionable. We need to see this Wednesday injury report. So let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks. Passing offense 13th, 221.5 yards per game. Rushing offense 18th, 110.8. Red zone offense 14th, 64.3. And third down offense 17th at 39.1. That's what you get from the Seahawks is statistically average offense. But Darnold is just not making mistakes. He's not taking huge risks. He's in complete control of the offense, despite these very pedestrian numbers. Passing defense 17th, 207.3 yards their line per game, but their rush defense 6th, 89.8. Their red zone defense 6th, 46.2%. Third down defense 18th, and they're getting 3 sacks a game. Their pass rush looks very, very good. They come in off extra rest and prep after beating division rival, the Cardinals 23-20 in Arizona. 8 straight time they beat them in complete control, and then they let this 14-point lead disappear. In the second half of the fourth quarter, it was very interesting. They did outgain the Cardinals 384 to 253, and Darnold was 18 to 26 for 242 and a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Najigba caught 4 passes for 79 yards. Him and Kenneth Walker looked very good. Kenneth Walker ran 19 times for 81 yards, caught 1 29-yard pass, 2 or 3 in the red zone. Pass rush looked excellent. 6 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Ernest Jones, Kobe Bryant had interceptions. Kobe Bryant fumbled it back, but Seahawks allowed the Cards to go 2 or 3 in the red zone, which is something we need to keep an eye out for. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence left the game in the second quarter. It didn't return with a thigh injury. The pass rush still looked good without him. And then safety Nick Emenwari was inactive with the ankle injury. And there was times you could tell that he was not available. Take it away for us here, Troy. Buccaneers, Seahawks, Lumen Field, and Seattle, Washington.
Well, there's a pretty common theme with me this week. And looking at this -3, -3.5, I mean, what am I going to be doing in this spot? So it's funny. Looking at these teams that open -3. There's 60 games where the home team opened -3. Only 14 of those games moved towards the home team. Only 14. It's shocking out of 60. But teams that do open -3 and close -3.5 are 60% ATS, 100% straight up. And if they open -3 and close -3 or -3.5, it's only 15 and 13 ATS, but 24 and 9 on the money line. That's 73% on the money line. 5 of those non-covers, and that's in that 54% ATS sample, landed exactly on 3, meaning this market is pretty damn sharp at 3. But I'll be hard-pressed to find a market that doesn't give me a 70% plus on the money line that's as strong as this one, and one that I am not going to be taking. Sam Darnold, I'm so impressed what he's able to do. Like, he's putting up career numbers once again. I think what we're coming to find out, it wasn't a Cinderella season last year. Obviously, he was a perennial talent coming out of college, so I could see why he's having success, and his maturity is showing. His pocket presence, his knowledge, like his IQ is grown. Like, he's grown as a quarterback. Instead of taking a sack or throwing it up for grabs, plays that used to result in turnovers, he's just throwing it away. He's on to the next play. So how does Darnold match up against the Bulls scheme, which is heavy blitz, heavy zone? It's great for Sam Darnold. Look at him versus zone. His passer rating increases by 10 points. Yards per attempt from 7.8 to 9.3. His completion percentage increases by 6%. And his EPA goes from 0.05 to 0.15. That's a 3x. Against the blitz, he has a PFF grade of 2nd in the NFL. His yards per attempt is 2nd in the NFL. I love how Darnold looks versus this type of matchup. And we're going to see a lot of play action. After week 1, where they barely used any play action, the offense looked out of sorts. They came back, and they've been 30% plus in play action 3 weeks in a row. I think that's going to take away a lot of what they want to do in terms of blitzing. And we're going to see him under center. Blitzing a quarterback under center is much harder because the trajectory of the blitz is different. The angle of the blitz is different. If you're blitzing, especially the nickel blitz, which he loves to do. We know Bowles loves a nickel blitz. It changes the trajectory of that blitz. It's much easier to pick up when the quarterback's under center. And it's much harder to have a blitz, a mark that you want to land on when you're blitzing in that situation. That's really, really tough to understand, but I'm telling you right now, the angle of the blitz matters under center. We're going to see a lot of under center from Darnold here. PFF grade, they got them second overall, this offense. You have QB, you have offensive line, you have weapons, you're firing on all cylinders. Now, the O-line really hasn't been tested to this point. They're grading out great. It's still a concern, like it has been for 3 consecutive years, so we'll see how they fare out in this matchup. The defense is really what I want to bet on in this game, though. I talked about this scheme. I gotten to watch this team now multiple times. I've watched all of their games this season. I love what they're doing. Love what they're doing. Cover 4, cover 6 scheme is one of my favorites to watch. It's what I would be running. They apply pressure without blitzing. They blitz at the second lowest rate in the league, but they apply pressure at the 5th highest rate in the league. And that should be I love that for Baker. And actually, they just played a mobile quarterback last week. Now they get Baker. They get extended rest versus a beat-up team. And Baker Mayfield versus zone coverage, the exact opposite of what we talked about with Darnold. His passer rating falls by 15 points. His yards per attempt fall by 1.7 yards. His EPA drops from 0.28 to 0.12. It's a huge, drastic difference. So I love the matchup for the Seahawks. The X's and O's tie up. The market ties up. You got 2 3-1 teams, and I believe the public is going to be on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucs when it's all said and done. And I love Tampa Bay, but I love Baker Mayfield. I do. But I still think the Bucs are the luckier team to be 3-1. The Seahawks were more convincing with their wins. The Bucs offensive line is injured. It's in shambles. Wirfs looks bad, and I know it's going to take him some time to get into game shape. And I think the matchup is absolutely elite. I forgot to post this one, but I did bet the Seahawks -3, -118. But right now at Bovada, you could get a -3, -125. But you don't buy the point once you get it in your bet slip. Go into the alt lines and take the -3. And I'm going to I'll probably have a money line parlay. I just want to figure things out. Like, how much action do I want to have on each team? I want to see these markets develop. Now that I got the -3, I could be comfortable in waiting and seeing where this market goes and seeing who I want to pair with on the money line parlay.
This is a terrible spot for Tampa. I didn't realize quite how bad it was. I guess, hearing Bucky not being available, but that was a tough game against the defending champs. And then you have to go all the way across to Seattle. I also believe that because Seattle's not being good at home over the past 5 years, we can use that to our advantage. This is a different group. A young coach, Mike McDonald, who we know is capable of possibly being a coach for the next 30 years, a great coach. And we know what happens when Rachaad White needs to play extensive snaps. He doesn't succeed. He doesn't deliver. I should have probably understood the advantage here before, and I don't know why I didn't. I fucking love extra rest and prep. I don't know why I didn't see this earlier. The Seahawks is honestly like the most appealing spot that we've talked about all day.
I agree.
Wow. Well, thank God for the show. I'm going to join you on the Seahawks. I also think a double result is a possibility. I do. Maybe we shouldn't move on the double result because Tampa is going to get tired. They are going to, it's a lot of travel. They're missing weapons. Certain players are going to have to play more than usual, and maybe I don't.
So true, Jimmy. It's so true. This is probably the best bet on the board.
It's probably this so far.
I think so.
It just seems like perfect. And again, because people still think, Seattle home field doesn't matter anymore, and that's the public sentiment I want to go up against. I didn't realize it. All right, Seahawks. So, but again, I don't think I should double up on the first half. just because Tampa's going to be exhausted. I don't know if the double result is necessary here. I like it. And then Birdie says second half Seattle running back overs will be nice. Yeah, I don't. So I've got to figure out how to bet this a little bit differently, and maybe it'll be like I even though I don't dislike the double result, we have to take advantage of the Buccaneers' injury issues, traveling all the way across country, just playing the defending Super Bowl champions, all the things that are going to make them tired in the second half. This is beautiful.
So you could get right now, you could get a minus 166 money line price at DraftKings.
Yeah, there's different ways of doubling down and tripling down. One would be using the Seahawks money line as a parlay piece as well.
I know.
Okay. All right, I've got lots to figure out here, but yes, Cheshire Cat, go bet Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Please do. Tell all your friends to as well, and good luck. Let's move on. Next spot on the board, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. We have the Detroit Lions at the Cincinnati Bengals Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. 78 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 mile/hour winds. Let's go into the line history here for this one and the cash flow for Lions Bengals. I had this set up for my Survivor. I switched things around with my Survivor plan so that I would be able to use to just start fading the Bengals, weekly. It's a little uncomforting that they're getting demolished at this rate, and I won the Survivor 2 years ago, not last year, but the year before. People would tell you don't bet Thursdays and don't bet road teams. And maybe I agree with the Thursdays, but road teams, I have no problem backing in Survivor. This look ahead was 7.5, and it moved to 7.5 was the look ahead. It opened up Sunday night at 8.5, then it got to 9 to 10 to 10.5. I'm not looking at. I don't want these giant spreads in games where you just, it's more of a business trip. You always want to get in and out and stay healthy. The look ahead total was 49.5. It's again 49.5. I hammered here when the Lions went to Baltimore, and the people would keep telling you that Goff can't play outdoors, and then I provided statistical proof that that's not the case. So I have no concern here about the Lions needing to, or Goff playing outdoors. None at all here. So let's get into the cash flow for this one. We have a 92% of the, it just switched. 87% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on Detroit, 92% of tickets, and 92% of cash on the over. We have, for the Lions, their passing offense 10th in the league, 226 yards per game. It hasn't really, they're in a rhythm right now that's absolutely clear here. Brady says no signs here. Lions have Kansas City next week. I always worry about Goff in these spots. Sometimes we see those 3 or 4 interceptions game. I worry this is a sleepy spot because of next week. I don't think anybody would want. Yeah, I imagine that they take care of business, but the only reason why I'm really spending time on is to decide if I'm going to use it for my Survivor. The red zone offense, 4th in league, 73.7% of the time there's catching touchdowns. Third down offense, 11th, 41.5% of the time they're converting. Pass defense has been good. Their defense has been good. Their pass rush is stepping up. It took them a few games. Their third down defense has been a problem this year, 41.7% conversion rate for the opposition. Their red zone defense is 19th. They're allowing touchdowns 61.5% of the time. And the rush defense has been very good, better than I expected it to be. The Lions coming off an impressive 34-10 victory over the Browns. Goff was held to a season low in yards and completion rate, but still led the offense to 34 points because they went perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. Goff 16-27 for 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Amon-Ra St. Brown caught 7 passes for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns over his last 3 games for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameer Gibbs finished with 15 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. The pass rush again looked strong. Aiden Hutchinson had 2 sacks and 4 quarterback hits himself. Rest of the team had a sack and 5 quarterback hits. Hutchinson has 11.5 sacks over his last 9 games dating back to last year. The defense held the Browns to 3 of 14 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. DJ Reed and Kirby Joseph had interceptions. Cleve Raymond returned a punt 65 yards for a score. Now they had injuries, especially to their secondary. DJ Reed carted off the field in the second half. He's going to be placed on IR with a hamstring injury. Terrion Arnold was hurt during the game. It's not expected to be serious. We'll find out. Zach Cunningham was inactive with a hamstring injury. He's listed as questionable. Marcus Davenport is not coming back until week 7 from the IR. Then let's talk about the Bengals. Their rushing offense is getting 50 yards per game. That's 30 less than the second worst rushing offense in the league, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their passing offense 155.3. I mean, it's just a train wreck. Their third down defense is 30th in the league. Their rush defense 26th, red zone defense 24th. They're not delivering any pressure whatsoever. Coming off their second straight lopsided loss. I mean, do you really want to fade a team that's lost their last 2 games 76-13? And those were both on the roads. Now they're coming back home. They were outgained 5-12 to 159 in Denver. Short week. Is Browning going to start? He's looked horrific. T. Higgins led receivers with 3 catches for 32 yards. Jamar Chase was held to 5 catches for 23 yards. Chase Brown ran 10 times for 40 yards. Now that's better than running 10 times for 3 yards like he'd done the week before. Bengals had 9 first downs, 2 of 11 on third down. Bengals didn't cross midfield after that opening field goal. Their defense is terrible. They allowed the Broncos about 29 first downs. Denver 8 of 14 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush was nowhere to be found. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit. Shamar Stewart inactive with an ankle injury. They could really use him, and it's possible he comes back here. Demetrius Knight had an interception. Is there anything that interests you here, Troy? Lions, Bengals?
Absolutely not. Nothing interests me in this game. I really have no value to add in this game, except I think that this is Browning's last year in the NFL. The offensive line is as bad as expected. It has been for years. Nothing's changed. The defense is a pushover, soft coverage. Somehow they're grading out pretty well per PFF, but I mean, the Browns, the Vikings, the Jags, pretty easy strength of schedule. And this Lions team, I mean, I do think that we're going to see regression from this Lions team. I think what we've seen recently is a little bit fraudulent, a little bit. Look at what they did versus the Browns, 19-9 noise adjusted score. What they did against the Ravens, how impressive is that? With what we know that Ravens defense to be, it's really hard to give you a side in this game. But I did find something that blew my mind looking at this market. So the first thing I was looking at was home teams that closed as dogs of 10 plus when 60% of the money or more is on the road team spread. The home team is 6-2 ATS, 2-7 straight up. In non-conference, 4-0 ATS, 0-5 straight up. So they cover a perfect 100% of the time in that non-conference role. However, how about this one? Home dogs between plus 10 and plus 11 in the first 10 weeks of the season, Jimmy. 4-0 ATS, 3-1 straight up. Insane. Home dogs, first 10 weeks of the season between plus 10 and plus 11, 3-1 straight up. So I'm not moving on this game. I have no interest in either the side of the total. No way I can bet the Bengals with Browning, and no way I can bet the Lions, knowing that the market is like this. Off of 2 what could potentially be fraudulent wins, because and I keep coming back to that offensive line, which is great on the tackle positions, pretty bad so far on the interior.
I wish the Bengals didn't get destroyed again, because it makes the Lions as a survivor a little less appealing. And I switched everything around. I'm set up till week 8. But I switched it around. I initially was going to use the Bills against the Patriots here, and I switched the Bills to last week. I still may use the Lions in Survivor.
I think the Rams is the Survivor pick this week.
Let's roll on us. a game. I mean, do you have any interest in the total in that one? In the Bengals? I mean, it's
No.
49.5. I mean, if, and I know it's probably should, but if the Lions just, don't try to do too much and just are focused on Kansas City the following week, it does kind of set up 4 and under. The Bengals are not going to be able to score easily. So I may look at the under. I'm certainly not going to bet it right now. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board here. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Washington Commanders 2-2, 0-2 on the road at the LA Chargers, 3-1, 2-0 at home. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. This is not going well here for the Chargers. They're getting decimated by injuries, and you can tell now. And I'm just not a Commanders backer, but God, do I want to find a way to get on them here. But I mean, Jaden Daniels coming back, all that. I mean, it's not an appealing spot. The total look ahead, or there was no look ahead. The total 47.5 got up to 48. They didn't know, who was going to be a quarterback, so there was no look ahead. The minus 2.5. This opened at on Monday morning. It moved to 3, but the 3. You can get Washington plus 3 heavily juiced, or you can get the Chargers minus 2.5 heavily juiced. I wish they were playing anybody but the Commanders. Anybody but the Commanders. From a money line or from a cash flow standpoint, we have 80% of tickets, 83% of cash on the Chargers, 88% of tickets on the over, 75% of cash on the under. So Drewski says fade McDaniels first game back. And it's scary to Terry also. So at this point, God, I think the Chargers are just a must fade. It's just too bad they're playing the Commanders. Let's go over the Commanders stats right now. Passing offense, 25th, 184.3 yards per game. Rushing offense, second. They're moving the ball incredibly well on the ground. I'm being so impressed with their ground game. Red zone offense, third. They're getting touchdowns 77.8% of the time. Third down offense, 27th, which gives you a better idea of what they're doing. 33.3% of the time they're converting. Defensively, it's pretty average, but their third down defense is so much better than I expected at this point. 6th in the league, 33.3% of the time they're allowing conversions. Passing defense, 27th. We knew that was going to be a problem. They're allowing a ton of yards through the air, 248.5 right now. And they're getting much more of a pass rush than I expected them to get, 2.5 sacks per game. Commanders coming off a 34-27 loss at Atlanta here. We have Birdie saying, I bet the under in this game. Chargers O-line very compromised, so compromised. Says if Daniel plays, he still has not played in 2 weeks. I think points will be tough here. Chargers will be running. The Commanders were outgained 435 to 294. We slammed Atlanta. Gave that out as the birthday pick for Skyler. It's the best bet on the board Sunday morning. And they should have won by more. I mean, they outgained the Falcons outgained the Commanders 435 to 294. Mariota was 16-27 for 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Also ran twice for 20 yards. But we expect Jaden Daniels back. It's not been confirmed. Terry McLaurin is expected to be back. That's not confirmed either. Deebo Samuel led receivers with 6 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Chris Rodriguez and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt combined for 14 carries for 106 yards. They're just rolling. The offense is bad, though. 1 of 8 on third down. The Falcons had 6 red zone opportunities compared to just 1 for the Commanders. The defense looked awful. They let the Falcons put up 6.8 yards per play. This is a team that just got shut out by the Carolina Panthers. Pass rush was invisible. 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. Sanders still had an interception. So Dan Quinn said that McLaren trending in the right direction, expects him to play. Defensive end, Javonte Jean-Baptiste will undergo surgery for a torn pectoral, so he's done for the season. Then with the LA Chargers, passing offense 5th at 249 yards per game, rushing offense 21st, red zone offense 29th, not getting touchdowns, third down offense 5th, pass defense 5th, rush defense 16th. Their red zone defense has been spectacular, second in the league at 30.8, third down defense 17th, and their pass rush has been quite good, 5th at 3.3 sacks per game. Chargers come in off a ugly 21-18 loss to the Giants and Jackson Dart's first start. Herbert was 23 of 41 for 203 yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also ran once for 24 yards. He's not being protected by his offensive line. He got hit 12 times. So we have Rashawn Slater gone for the year, Mekhi Becton in concussion protocol, and then Joe Alt suffers in that high ankle sprain in the game. He's listed as doubtful to play this week. Q had 8 catches for 98 yards and touchdown. Omar and Hampton looked.
Jimmy, when did he come out of the game? Do you know?
Mekhi Becton wasn't in.
No. The left tackle. Did he came out of the game in the middle of the game, didn't he, Slater?
Yes, I
yeah, no problem.
Find it right now, but it was it wasn't late. It was like mid game, but I'll get it. I'll get it.
They were still opening up some holes late in that game.
Yeah, but that's the Giants' weak defense. I mean, all they have is a pass rush at this point. I mean, like, I don't know. Well, the Tui Pelotu was a monster. 4 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. He was absolutely spectacular. Chargers had 6 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. Is that something we expect from the Chargers moving forward? Or no, it's because the Giants' offensive line is so bad that the Saints are going to beat them this week. Take it away for us here, Troy. Commanders, Chargers.
This is a really, really tough game. I want to continue fading the Commanders. I am biased in this game because I went 3-0 with the Chargers. I didn't back them a week 4. I knew it wasn't the spot. I should have been on the Giants. I didn't back the Giants. They were in a terrible spot. And the Commanders are a one-way ticket for me. They're a fade. They lost that game last week. You said it. I mean, they should have lost by more. The noise justice score was a 2-touchdown game. And everything remains true. The cap is the exact same over the past 4 weeks. Put Jaden Daniels back in the offense. It's a quality offense. They're going to be successful. The defense is terrible. And I think Dan Quinn is a bum defensive coach. I mean, it's the epitome of a shell defense. It's as soft as could possibly be. The weakest set of secondary, me and Spenny were talking about in the chat. The weakest secondary in the NFL is led by Lattimore. That's pretty crazy to think about, but that's the truth. And how has this Commanders team looked on the road? They're 2 road games, 0-2 with pitiful performances. Jay Daniels in the week 1 in the first game, and obviously Mariota game 2. But that defense is so bad. Chargers coming off a loss in New York. I mean, it was a terrible spot. Like, yeah, we want to fade them, right? I mean, they were on the road off of 3 divisional wins. They got the Giants. Like, now they're coming back off a loss. I know the old offensive line injuries are going to be a problem. I don't want to just brush that over as if it's nothing. But I saw this offensive line in the second half open up holes, and Hampton came to life. If they can run the football, that's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure the offensive line would have pass blocking. So there's ways I could see the Chargers having success, especially against this Commanders defense, which I think is a one-way fade. I do not believe in this defense at all. Their best player is almost 40 years old. So, and the defense is this team's strong suit in the first place. This is their strong suit. The discipline isn't. You got to talk about the discipline with this team. The end squeezing down when the tackle's down block every single time, removing their ability to piggyback up to the second level and then playing inside out to make the tackle. The communication is perfect. Only allowed 3.6 yards per play against the Giants. Almost won that game despite losing 2-0 in the turnover battle and being in a terrible spot. If it wasn't for this injury to this offensive line, I think I'd be on the Chargers up to laying 6 points. Like, I haven't moved on this game. I'm only looking at the Chargers.
My pops, as you know, season ticket holder, biggest Chargers fan I know, loves this football team, loves Harbaugh more than and he's like, they're not going to make the playoffs. The Herbert holds on to the ball too long now. The offensive line's completely decimated. The problem is Commanders can't be backed. I think so. I guess I have to stay off this game, but I mean, he was on the Giants last week. So Alt spent the whole second half in a walking boot. So it happened near the end of the first half. I mean, do we really care? I mean, we're talking about opening up holes against a Giants team that we're going to back the New Orleans Saints against them.
Yeah, because we know they should be able to run the ball. So is it the same situation? And the Commanders, actually, the past 2 seasons, if anything, it was their strong suit defensively. It was stopping the run.
I guess I can't. I'm I have the under the win total for the Commanders. I can't, but
Yeah, you know what? That might be enough for me. That might be enough for me to just lean on that and just let the Chargers take care of business and not sweat it as much because
the Giants have the third worst rush defense in the NFL.
they do.
So who cares if Hampton went for 128 yards? I mean, look, we don't like Dan Quinn as a coach, but
he looks better too. Like, these young running backs, they can't help themselves, but would just want to just blast into the hole with no patience. Bucky Irving was the outlier in terms of that because he came in and was patient and explosive. But I thought Hampton looked great. I know.
He looks great. So now, the Commanders' rush defense 14th, allowing 107.5 yards per game. And Herbert is screwed. I mean, the problem is I just can't trust this Commanders' defense at all. It sucks. This is such a bad setup. Mark Stosowski on the Saints. We're right there with you. I guess you just got to leave the game alone. Dougie Weiss is healthy. This Chargers team is a monster. Absolutely. But imagine losing Rashawn Slater, Mekhi Becton, and Joe Alt from your offensive line. I mean, that's just. So I guess I have to stay off of it. I guess we have to stay off of it, and that's what I guess I'll do. I'm trying to figure out how to fade the Chargers. Maybe expecting them to bounce back here is not impossible. All right. Brady says all we've seen out of this Chargers team is throw. This game sets up for a low-scoring slogfest. Chargers will run because they have to. Under is nice. I get that. I guess I should focus on the futures market with the Chargers if I want to fade them instead of here. But I mean, God, I hate the Commanders so much. I wish I liked them because still this +3 must be bet.
No, I don't think so, man. Not the 3. Take a 2.5, man. Take a 2.5. Don't take a 3.
And I mean +3 on the Commanders.
Yeah, right. You don't want a +3, man. I don't think that's a good. I don't know, man. I don't want to talk you out of it. It just keeps bringing me back to the Bears, Cowboys spot.
The Chargers are going to be the best fade in the NFL over the next 6 games. That's what I think, Troy. The best fade in the NFL because everybody's seen how great they've looked so far, and they don't realize that it wasn't just a bad spot against the Giants. It's that they're not that good of a football team, and now Herbert has no time, and he holds on to the ball too long. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I mean, it's going to take some time. All right, let's roll on. And I'll figure out how to fade the Chargers. Let's go on to our Sunday nighter. This one's going to be an absolute beauty. Join us right here on Pub Sports Radio for our live stream. Patriots Bills, Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. 69 Fahrenheit, sunny, 3-mile-per-hour winds. We have the Patriots right now +7.5. The look ahead was 10.5. That should have been bet. 7.5 maybe should still be bet. I don't know. I got to start hitting these look ahead spots. The total here is 49.5. The look ahead was 48.5. It came out on Sunday night at 50, dropped down to 49.5. From a cash flow perspective, Drewski looking at Pat's money line.
Lockstep, man.
From a cash flow standpoint here, where's do they not even have it here? Huh. I don't have it. That's funny. I don't know why I wouldn't be here. Let me go over to Action, which I hesitate to use, but why don't we use it here for this one? For the Sunday nighter, 52% of the tickets on the Bills and 39% of the cash. And then on the total here, and again, this is Action, which you don't need to trust, 61% of tickets and 53% of cash on the under. So let's start with the Patriots. Passing offense, 7th in the league, 235 yards per game. It's looked pretty good. Rushing offense has not. And 25th, 101.3. The idea that the Patriots were a fade was just mind-boggling. You have 5 turnovers for the first time since 2008. And you have a coach like Vrabel who's going to be all over his running backs to hold on to the ball. So, of course, they don't turn the ball over. They dominate, catch the double result and the -5. Red zone offense, 8, 66.7%. Third down offense, 10th, 41.7%. Their pass defense has been a real problem. Christian Gonzalez is supposed to fix that. 241.5 yards per game. Rush defense is second. They're only allowing 77.5 yards per game on the ground. Their red zone defense is a real problem again. We expect Gonzo to fix that. 31st, 87.5%. A conversion rate for the opposition is ridiculous. Their third down defense, 19th, 39.1%. And their pass rush has been a little better than I had expected it to be. Patriots come in off that excellent 42-13 victory at home over the Panthers. They were actually outgained by the Panthers, 326 to 307, but they dominated on special teams and went 4 for 4 in the red zone to get the win. Drake May, 14 and 17 for 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Stephon Diggs caught 6 for 101. Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Antonio Gibson combined for 22 carries for 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. They were just 3 of 9 on third down, but the defense was strong throughout. Held the Panthers to 6 of 17 on third and fourth down. Pass rush was quiet, 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits. They did allow the Panthers to score in both their red zone opportunities, but the last one was not garbage time. Marcus Jones had an 87-yard punt return for a touchdown. Then for the Buffalo Bills, passing offense 6th in the league, 240.5 yards per game. Rushing offense number 1 in the league with Josh Allen and James Cook. Red zone offense 8th in the league, 66.7%. A touchdown rate. Third down offense 7th league, 42%. Nobody allows less passing yards a game than the Bills. It's a surprise. They're only allowing 125.8 yards per game. But their rush defense are allowing 164.3 on the ground right now. That's second worst. Red zone defense is poor. Third down defense is 25th. They come in off extra rest and prep after an underwhelming 31-19 victory at home over the Saints. Hard to use underwhelming when you're talking about an offense that's gone over 30 points in every game this year, but it was pretty underwhelming. Josh Allen, 16 and 22 for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He also ran 7 times for 45 yards and touchdown. Allen had his 45th game with touchdowns, passing and rushing. That ties Cam Newton for the NFL record. James Cook ran 22 times for 117 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 passes for 18 yards, and extended his streak of games with a rushing touchdown to 8. And they want to keep it going. It's our first player prop that I bet this year. We just heard Josh Allen wanted him to be in the record book. He broke the record previously held by Cookie Gilchrist, O.J. Simpson, and Rob Riddick. Khalil Shakir led receivers with 5 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Bills were 3 for 11 on third and fourth down, but went 2 or 3 in the red zone. The defense got gashed on the ground, 189 yards, but they held the Saints 5-15 on third and fourth down, held the Saints at 2 of 4 in the red zone, and they were in a tough position. 4 of the possessions were on began in Buffalo's side of the field, and New Orleans only came away with 2 field goals. That Cole Bishop interception was absolutely spectacular. Just the way he ball hawked that was so phenomenal. Pass rush had 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. It's hard to not think the Patriots are appealing here, but the Bills didn't care about the Saints as much as they're going to care about the Patriots. Take it away, Troy.
This probably is my favorite game. I already have multiple units invested in this game, and let's talk about why. I talked about in Cards Titans. We're going to talk about a market in similar standing as we're currently looking at right now. Well, this is the game I was talking about. Home teams that closed between -10 and -7 after the market moved towards the road team. I talked about the division, non-division splits. In division, road team is 73% ATS, 1-0 in prime time. And the sample is so damn representative. It's such a perfect sample. Except the only part of this sample that I don't like is most of these games are happening later in the season. The only 2 games that happened in the first 3 games that happened in the first 10 weeks, road team covered 2, got blown out in 1. The Bills also are very representative of this sample, and they went 1-3 ATS. Not a surprise. We know the Bills lay big numbers at home. I think Drake May can play quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't have great pocket presence yet, but he has great poise. He never looks shook by what's happening, what the defense is doing. He has a great spray chart that's improving each and every week. I'm starting to save some of these young quarterbacks spray chart to see if they're progressing. Drake May is progressing. And obviously, mobility is always an option for this kid. They need to figure out how to run the football. The pass blocking, shockingly, is good. The run block, not so much. I think there's some issues with the running scheme as well. Like if you start really watching what's going on, they want to run the ball behind their 4th overall pick, Will Campbell. They run it at the 2nd highest rate in the NFL around the left tackle, 62% of the time. It's pretty easy to prepare for a team that's just going to run the ball one way. There's got to be something this team could do to figure out how to run the ball more efficiently, because that's what this offense is lacking. And the Patriots defense still hasn't moved the needle. They haven't been good. Don't get me wrong. Like they haven't been bad. Don't get me wrong, but they do seem like a middle of the pack, top middle of the pack is really their ceiling, even with Christian Gonzalez. But they do have one strong suit, and that's being able to stop the run. Like you kind of already talked about, right? Tied for 2nd in the league with 3.3 yards per carry. Their PFF grade is 20th, and I can't. Like this is one of the PFF grades I had to go back and watch. What's going on? Why are they grading out 20th, but they're only allowing 3.3 yards per carry? PFF grades are based on individuals playing each and every snap plus 1 or minus 1. They get graded on each snap. And I think that it's incorrect to look at what's happening and say that it's a bad grade, because they don't get off blocks necessarily, but they don't get moved. The defensive front does not get moved. So, yeah, they're not shedding the blocks and making tackles for TFLs, but they're not getting moved off the spot, and that's hard to run against. We've seen teams run into their defense, into the defense, and struggle to do so. And we know this Bills offense is predicated on running the ball. They're 1st in run block. They're 2nd in run grade, so the running backs are grading out really good. They're 7th in yards per carry. And it's impressive when you're winning every game, right? Because teams know you're going to run the ball at some point, and they're still able to put up some damn good numbers. But I think that that's a matchup that I kind of want to hang my hat on. If you could stop the run against this Bills team, the back door is going to remain open. And I think the Bills have proven one thing to us, that the back door is open against this type of team. The Bills, I mean, the cap hasn't really changed. Elite offense, top 3 for sure. Below average on defense, bottom middle of the pack, in my opinion. And the worst linebackers in the NFL, they're too small. They're undersized on the defensive front. The front seven's too small. Too small. So the Patriots, if they could run the ball and stop the run relative to the price we're being laid, which is a massive number, we have a great market environment. My hand is forced. My hand is forced. We have a great market. I believe the Pats are equipped to stop the run. And the Bills, they haven't been the type of team to put their foot on the throat. The back door is going to remain open in this game. And I do think the money line is live. Like this might be one of the coming of age moments for Drake May. I really believe the back door is open. And I do believe that the money line is potentially live in this spot. I bet the Patriots plus 8.5 minus 112. I bet the Patriots plus 7.5 minus 105. There's still some 8.5s. There's still some 8.5s out in the market too.
Yeah, I get it. What concerns me, and I don't think I certainly don't want the Bills here, but what concerns me is that we just watched the Patriots look spectacular. And I think it's fair to question how much the Bills cared about that Saints game. And they want to send a message to the Patriots, which is my concern. And also this number is so big. Of course, it's so appealing. It screams at you right when you look at it. And so it makes me a little nervous is all. I get it. I don't know. It's such a big number. It's such an appealing number. And we just watched the Patriots look good. We've watched the Bills look, questionable. And they're vulnerable. And you make the angle and you create the angle of the rush defense for the Patriots. And that is a very legitimate angle. The rush defense has been much stronger than we had expected. I get it.
And the Bills at home on prime time laying more than a touchdown, more than 7 points, or I should say 6.5, more than 6.5 points, so 7 points or more. 1-5 ATS since 2022. And the last game in the sample, so the first game that is showing in my samples, Bills Titans in 2022, where they won by 34.
Birdie is on New England money line and alting New England to -2.5. So that should be very soothing to your ears here.
Now we have Spenny. Spenny said money line. Birdie says money line. I think that the Patriots are going to win this game roughly 35 to 40% of the time at plus 350. We should see a lot of value on that game. You look like an idiot when you lose, but you look like a genius when you win, and it doesn't matter in this one game sample. We're playing this over hundreds of games, right?
Oh, I do have the numbers now up here. They weren't here a second ago. I don't know what the hell happened, but so they have 63% of tickets and 81% of cash on Buffalo. That surprises me because I
think that the teasers are included in those cash flow numbers.
You do?
I do. I do think the teasers are included in the cash flow numbers. Yeah.
Can we not think and find out if that is in fact the situation?
I don't know how.
So that would skew those numbers. Wow, that it's a fascinating breakdown. It makes sense to me. It's just the number is so big, and that's the concern. It's such a big, giant number. I almost would find it more appealing at 6.5.
They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Steelers at the house. But they are coming off the blowout win. I don't know. I feel like the price kind of makes sense.
Well, it's certainly appealing. The Sunday nighter. Do you have any interest in the total? Sitting at a 49.5. Look ahead was 48.5. Opened up on Sunday night at 50. If we think that the Patriots can stop the run, the issue is going to come down to red zone defense. And the Patriots have the second worst red zone defense in the National Football League.
Yeah, that's the bull case for the Bills, is that they're going to be able to walk into the end zone once they get down there.
The Bills have a bad red zone defense.
Right. The Bills' defense is not good, in my opinion. It's not good.
No, it's not.
I don't like the scheme either. Like it's a bend, like I've been saying, it's a bend but don't break defense that has.
How do we explain the fact they're only allowing 125.8 yards a game through the air?
The Jets, the Saints. Who else is in there? The Dolphins, I guess. The Dolphins is a good little. Who else did they play? Who am I missing?
Let me pull it up right now. That stat is so strange because it's an aging secondary. So I did not think that was going to. I'm shocked that is the stats, and I don't want to put too much into it. But they played the Ravens, Jets, Dolphins, and Saints.
It's because the Jets only threw for 50 yards.
And Birdie saying out of the Jets.
And the Saints threw for 109 yards, which tells me that you could run the ball on this team, man.
Oh, I like where you're at. It's just I just need more time with it. Patriots plus 8.5. So then I would say that this game goes over.
Yeah, I kind of think the over would be the play.
Both teams are going to be able to move the ball, and both teams are going to be able to score. Both teams have poor red zone defense. But okay, I guess I'm interested in the over. Which I didn't think I would. I don't like standalone divisional games. Who in the world wants an over? Nobody. Standalone divisional games, it's. All right. Shout out to Aaron joining us. Let's go into our Monday nighter, and this one is a beauty. Monday, October 6th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Kansas City Chiefs 2-2, 1-1 on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars 3-1, 2-0 at home at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. 77 Fahrenheit light rain, 2 mile/hour winds. Let's get into the line history here. This total is a 46.5. The look ahead was 44.5. Came out on Sunday night at 44.5, and we're up to 46.5. There were two totals that moved in this similar fashion last week. One pushed, and I lost on one. That, of course, was the Rams, a Colts one. So similar movement. We have the 3.5. 3.5 was the look ahead, and then and it actually moved to 3 within the look ahead. It actually moved from 3.5 to 2.5. You know, the Chiefs had a questionable first 3 games, but then they looked like the juggernaut of old. This opened up on Sunday night at 3 minus 120 towards Jacksonville, and now it's a 3.5, about minus 117. So a real legitimate half-point move towards the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get to the cash flow here for this one. We are not getting anything yet for some reason. So I don't know why this has been fooling around. Let me pull up action and see what the cash flow is on action. So we have 55% of the tickets, 74% of cash on the over. And then on the point spread, we have 56% of tickets and 81% of cash on the Chiefs. And that's a big move from 3 to 3.5. Let's talk about the Chiefs here. We have passing offense 12, 220. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Chiefs passing offense 12, 221.8 yards per game. Rushing offense 19th, 110.5. The rushing game is still questionable, but good God, did things change with some speed with Xavier Worthy. I know we think of Hollywood Brown being a speed threat and a receiver who can stretch defenses, but Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice can stretch defenses. Red zone offense 18th at 57.1%. Third down offense 15th at 39.3%. Pass defense 8th, allowing 185.8 yards per game. Rush defense is 22nd. They're allowing 127 yards per game. And 79% of tickets, 69% cash on KC. Thank you, Coin. I don't know what's going on with my site right now, but thank you for that. Third down defense 9th, red zone defense 10th. Look, I mean, they're a quality football team, and they got back on track. Very impressive 37-20 victory over the Ravens. Mahomes was 25 for 37 for 270 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Xavier Worthy returned, caught 5 passes for 83 yards, also ran twice for 38 yards. Offense was 4 of 6 in the red zone. 4 different players caught touchdown passes for the Chiefs. The offense scored on its first 4 possessions. Defense was stopping the Ravens before Lamar Jackson left with the hamstring injury. They held the Ravens to 4-14 on 3rd and 4th down. And Chris Jones returned in time from his pop's funeral to lead the pass rush. It was impressive. And the Chiefs had 3 sacks and 8 quarterback hits. And Brady says, Chiefs, for me here, this is a must-win for the Chiefs with the Lions on deck. They have to win this game. It does not hurt that Spags has owned Lawrence, owned him. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars off an impressive 26-21 victory at San Francisco. Passing offense 18th, 204.5 yards per game. Rushing offense 4th at 144 yards per game. The rush, Travis Etienne running the ball the way he has, I did not expect. I mean, the fact that he's turning it on, it's just, it doesn't make sense after watching him for the last few years. Red zone offense 21st, third down offense 26th, pass defense 24th, rush defense 4th. They're only allowing 82.8 yards per game on the ground. The red zone defense is 5th. They're only allowing touchdowns on 44.4% of red zone spots. Their third down defense, though, is 3rd worst in the league, and it's going to hold them back. And their pass rush, I know Hines Allen is a beast, but it's not very good. They're getting 1.8 sacks per game. Jaguars coming off an impressive 26-21 victory at San Francisco. Trevor Lawrence was 21-31 for just 174 yards and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. caught 5 for 49, but Etienne ran 19 times for 124 yards touchdown. They struggled on third down, 4 of 14, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The Jaguars have now generated at least three takeaways in all 4 games this year, which means they have 4 more takeaways than they had the entire 2024 season. It's absolutely nuts. The defense bent but didn't break. Allowed the 49ers to put up 389 yards, but held them to 1-3 in the red zone. Allowed the 49ers to go 8 of 13 on third down. They were again able to defend the run, allowing 83 yards on the ground. Jaguars pass rush was quiet. Eric Armstead did strip sack Brock Purdy with less than 3 minutes to play to seal the win. Parker Washington had Jacksonville's first punt return touchdown in 8 years. Trayvon Walker left in the first half with a wrist injury. He didn't return that. It's going to be very important on the Wednesday injury report. It's not considered season ending, but he's not. If they say that it's not season ending, that means he's not playing this week. Safety Eric Murray left in the second half, listed as questionable with a neck injury. JW all over Jacksonville. Look, this has got to be the Kansas City Chiefs here. I initially thought that the Jaguars were going to be appealing in week 5. But I see holes in this Jaguars team. And look, if you are running the ball with authority, you can probably run on the Chiefs. The rush defense hasn't looked that good, but I believe that they're better than what we've seen. It feels like the Chiefs got right. And I still question the Jaguars. And I know that the Jaguars are going to be a sexy pick this week. I think that move from 3 to 3.5 on the road team is something you've talked about so often. I know that we might have a bias because we faded them and they hurt us. And I've watched cappers, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but they watch a team beat them and they always back them the next week. It's their subconscious messing with you. So I'm a little worried about that happening. And I faded the Jaguar. I faded both these teams last week. So I lost to both of them. But the Chiefs with the Lions on deck, they have to go in here and win in Jacksonville, being 3-2. They can't be 2-3 and possibly 2-4, even if the Chargers don't look good. Take it away, Troy. Chiefs, Jaguars.
I agree. I mean, I feel like everyone is going to want to back the Chiefs after what they just seen. Like, I kind of want to tamper expectations, put the brakes on just a little bit with KC, just off the top. Because what has the Ravens defense done to make us think that that was an impressive offensive performance? They really haven't done much defensively, especially considering all the injuries they sustained with Roquan, Humphrey, Van Noy, Metabuke. So, I mean, yes, the KC offense is significantly better with Worthy as an option. But we need to see how that offense plays out against a competent opponent, because I don't think the Ravens are a quality defensive opponent at this time. And what about the Jaguars? Because their defense right now is 3rd per PFF, but they've had the easiest schedule from a defensive standpoint with the 49ers, the Texans, the Bengals, the Panthers. But I talked about this defense preseason, and this is my only hesitation and why I'm just now getting to the Chiefs, is because if you go back and watch my cap on the Jaguars preseason, it was the defense that had upside because they have 4 elite players. They have at least one great player on every level. Obviously, Hines Allen on the line, Alukin and Lloyd, linebackers who are great in coverage, and Jordan Lewis at DB is just rising. And I think that the defensive coordinator has some principles that remind me or resemble Fangio. 4-3 base defense doesn't change very much. And they rightfully so. You don't want to come off that 4-3 base when your linebackers are playing this great. And they use heavy zone coverage, cover 3, disguised cover 4, which I love to see. And they mix in some hybrid man coverage. And that's a great scheme to have when you have 3 great linebackers. But again, who have they played that we really, can say this is the performance that tells me this Jaguars team is legit? I don't think we've seen that yet, but we might. Listen, the market is enough for me to move on this game. I talk about this 3.5. The home dog 3.5 is even more prevalent, and just one sample that we're looking at currently. So when the spread opens +3, closes +3 or +3.5, the road team is covering at a 79% clip. They're winning at an 82% clip. The game's going under. You could open this up to a wider range if you wanted to, and it's just going to be the same numbers. 75%, 23-8, ATS 28-7 straight up. You could filter down to the total range, which is 46.5. And I bet you it gets even better because I know road favorites cover 7-0 straight up, 7-0 ATS. I mean, this is clear as day. You can get a -118 on the Chiefs right now, and I already bet it while you were talking it out.
So what was the number you got with the Chiefs?
Chiefs -3, -118 at FanDuel. My arch nemesis, the only book that I can't seem to win any bets on.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are they must be backed here against the Jags, and I also think that maybe a nice little addition to get a little bit more action on the Seahawks is the Seahawks Chiefs moneyline parlay, which I will be figuring out whether to move on. Your thoughts on this total? It keeps climbing. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this will be a very.
I don't agree with it at all. I think this is going to look. Spagnuolo is going to run circles around Trevor Lawrence. I believe that to be the case because I didn't even touch on the Jaguars offense, because if you're fading the Jaguars, it's because their offense, I think, looks horrendous. The Jaguars offense, the offensive line right now, 3rd in pass block, 6th in run block, which is shocking to me. It's not consistent with how the Jags offensive line has been over the past 3 years. Their offensive scheme with Cohen must be on point, and they have weapons to be successful. So why aren't they exploding? And it comes back to Trevor Lawrence. Now you're going to throw Spags at him. I think it's going to be a disaster for this team. I do, for the offense. And that makes me lean towards the under, and I don't know why the hell I'm not betting it already, because every single profile, I've talked about this price range. When I first started talking about it 3 years ago, it was all betting unders, and this is where I was cashing with totals. I haven't been cashing with totals. That's probably my concern. But yeah, this under has to be bet as well. But then I don't want to have 1 unit on the Chiefs and 1 unit on the under. So that means I'm going to be loading up heavier on the Chiefs, and I like that. That's okay with me.
Yeah, but we could also, I don't like doing it with the dog, but we could just take the Jaguars team total under.
Don't you think with the script, with the Chiefs, we see them, this would be a double result I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I agree. And it would be a double result where if you have the Chiefs -3 full game, how much that costs, we'll find out after the show. You have the double result. If you lose the double result, you live bet the Chiefs at halftime and cover that nut.
Right. Here I am. I'm going on it. I'm going to grab the Chiefs. Let's see if we can get on the double result. I like it.
What are you getting on it?
I don't know why. I always check Bovada and I cannot load. I got to check Bet365 because this is the only place to bet.
Actually, I have it right here. Sorry. I'm on the game right now on 365. We have the double result is plus 137. Ooh, it's a nice number. It's a nice number.
I am on it. And I'm betting the total, but should I wait? Should I wait on the total?
I think so, yeah. I think you gotta wait to see if it hits. You gotta get a sign that it's hit a roof.
Yeah.
Certainly more Jaguar bettors than Chiefs bettors in the chat at this point. So I get it. Kripke also on the Jags plus 3.5. That is 14 breakdowns here on Tuesday, September 30th. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here on Bankroll Blitz. Let's do a quick review of action and then start betting. So for the Thursday nighter, I'm going to go ahead and move on unders in first half and full game for 49ers Rams here. I'm surprised that the line is as big as it is, and I may want to mess with it. I may, which would be backing the 49ers. I know what happens when these divisional rivals play, and it is a intense battle. And the 49ers are always going to be more than the sum of their parts because of Shanny. Then the only bet I came in here with was the Browns. And I think I might add Vikings team total under. I'm going to sit with that. Curious to see what happens with that line move. I'm interested in the Raiders. Very interested, but want to sit with that for a little bit longer. I'm going to be betting the Saints here as soon as the show's over and probably more than a unit on it as well. Then the Jets interest me very much. I got to figure out, do I bet that right now? Donut Silks moved on the Browns this morning, plus 4.5. I like it. The Broncos-Eagles game, I mean, I find it, I want to see what happens with this market and see where the public is. But I certainly think that if the Eagles are beating teams by margin without their offense moving at all, and you could say, well, they're blocking punts, they're doing all these other things. Well, that's what a great football team does. They can beat you in all facets of the football game. I'm interested in backing them there. Then the Panthers I find extremely interesting, and I didn't at first. I'm going to be angry that I didn't move on the plus 9.5 look ahead because it was my plan. I just got caught up with bullshit. Troy's going to talk about his moves on that game. I'm interested in the under in Titans Cardinals. I don't know if I get there here tonight, but I'm going to be going over these spots over and over again. The Seahawks are a must bet. The Seahawks are a must bet, and more than a unit. And so I'll tie it on a couple different spots. Vincent Hawkins says, don't do it, take the Colts. I mean, Vincent Hawkins, 9 out of 10 people would tell me to do that, right? Nobody's going to want the Raiders, and that's fine. I do. It's, there's time before that. I'm probably not going to bet that tonight. Then the under in Detroit, Cincinnati, something I'm going to be studying here as we move forward. I want to fade the Chargers so badly, but I think the only place to do that's probably the futures market, honestly. And then the Patriots, I'm going to sit with for longer. Your spot on the Patriots there. And then I'm going to hammer the Chiefs tonight. Troy Torrance, please review your action, my friend.
Okay, so the Rams, Thursday nighter, I got the Rams 3 different ways. I got a +0.5 and 2 teasers, one with the Dolphins +7.5, one with the Colts -0.5, and I have the Rams Eagles money line parlay at +102. I have the Browns. I think the Rams money line is probably where I would go in Survivor as well, just based on that market. How big that line movement only makes the money line price more appealing to me. Browns +4.5 out there overseas. I love it, -115. Eagles -4, -102, and I got that money line parlay with the Rams. Texans +3.5, -110. Texans money line -120. Saints money line, and I'm considering adding more, but I'm a little concerned with that, -122. I got the Seahawks -3, -118, and the Seahawks Colts money line. I like the Colts. I have to back the market. The matchup is bullish. They're awful loss. Why would I not be on the Colts? I understand the Raiders, buy low on the Raiders, but not for me. Maybe ATS, that's fine, but I think the Colts win that game. Patriots +7.5, -105. Patriots +8.5, -112. This might be my heaviest bet of the week. I know I have 3 units on the Rams money line, but I think I might be coming in heavy on this Patriots team. Want to see this market where it's going to close. And then the Chiefs, what we just talked about, Chiefs -3, -118, and the Chiefs double result +137. I have notes that I'm going to be betting A.J. Brown props when the markets open in the prop markets. I will be betting Jags Chiefs under as well. I'm considering Colts Raiders over, and I'm considering Panthers Dolphins under.
Oh, I'm excited. Great work, Troy Torrance. Great work. All the cappers supporting us in the chat. Donut Silks, JW, Lucky Power, Vincent Hawkins, AOD, Luke Burrow, Jason Meyer, the El Dorado custodian. Thank you guys so much. We do. Dougie Wise, Mark Stasowski. Thank you guys. Susie Easton, 1777 memorabilia, Harold Williams, Spenny Pennybomps, Crip Key, Birdie. Thank you guys. Truly, thank you guys for the support. We have nothing without you guys. So thank you guys for rocking with us here on Pub Sports Radio. Bankroll Blitz Week 5. Shout out to our producer, Jose Bouquet, working tirelessly behind the scenes and buzzing off of his big victory from his Boston Red Sox. Jared TG, Derek Bop, thank you guys. Oldie, thank you, my friend. Let's get that cash, fellas. Troy Torrance, excellent work as always, my man. Just thankful to rock with you each and every week. Please, last words and bless our action and say a final thought for the chat.
Final thought for me this week is we got to build upon our, we've had a few good weeks in a row. We really got to explode out this week. I'm very happy to be having such a good season. It doesn't feel like I'm having a great season. Part of that's live betting. Part of it's just taking some of the losses that we've taken. But losses come with the game. How hard could you get hit and keep moving forward? That's the question. And I'm always trudging forward, inch by inch, day by day. Pub Sports Radio is the reason I'm up here. Jimmy the Bag, you are the man. You've shown me the light with the market, and I'm trying to take it to the whole next level. And really appreciate you, believe in you immensely. It's the reason I'm up here. Wouldn't be doing a show with anybody else or anywhere else. Pub Sports Radio is the best damn community industry. And now it's time to go out there after We watched the Cubs win the series versus the Padres to much of my companions' dismay. Get out there this weekend and NFL Week 5. You got to get that cash. Leche, those bookmakers.